The entire season has been leading up to this moment. It's almost time to jump into the grand final for Six Masters 2020. I'm Guz, and joining me for all of the action is Dev, and what a cracking final this will be.
Oh, yeah, so good. I mean, this is, so far, Six Masters has delivered. The grand final is bound to be no different. We've seen Okami perform amazingly over the last few days, and Wildcard has performed amazingly throughout the entire season, so this should be a barn burner.
Of course, this has been a three-day finals bracket leading into this grand final. Both Wildcard and Okami have fought super hard to make it to the grand final. Wildcard fought their way through the upper bracket, didn't lose a single map, giving them a one-map advantage heading into this game, Dev. They are looking very hard to stop at the moment.
I mean, Wildcard have only lost one map in the entire league tournament, and that was way back in the 13th of May. I mean, that was yonks ago, right? Wildcard are looking so good right now. They stormed through our entire bracket. First up, it was Pittsburgh Knights. They did away with them 2-0 in a very dominant fashion. Okami looked like maybe they would make them sweat, but Wildcard still came through that so dominantly, straight into the grand final with that map advantage, as you said. But then, of course, Okami had a bit more of a, almost as equivalently like an easy time. It was just Wildcard that gave him a fight, I guess.
Of course, all of these teams are fighting it out for that massive prize pool. Let's recap that distribution and see exactly how it breaks down. First place, Dev, will take home a very nice 15K, and the rest of the breakdown you can see there on screen.
Yeah, so this is a huge prize pool locally in Rainbow Six esports in the Oceanic region, and just in esports in general in Oceania. This is a hefty prize pool, and there's a lot on the line. And of course, not just that 15K in first place, but quite a significant bragging rights. And I know especially both of these teams really want to gun for that. Like, you talk to Wildcard, and they've been gunning for this first slot in the Six Masters season after season, and they've not been able to crack it. They've been in the grand final last year, and they've also taken national championships before, but you know, they really want to establish themselves as that number one. And Okami on the flip side, like they're coming in this kind of as the underdogs, but at the same time, like, they bring so much confidence from the games against teams like Knights and Sinister that they are totally wanting to prove that this isn't just a one-team league and that they can actually take on Wildcard.
And of course, the one thing that graphic doesn't show is, of course, Six Masters is the Oceanic Nationals, meaning that this competition feeds into the wider global program. The top three teams, that being Okami, Wildcard, and the Pittsburgh Knights, have all now qualified for the Oceanic Mini Major. And Dev, they'll have an opportunity to earn points on that road to the Sixth Invitational.
Yes, so there'll be a little bit of a gauntlet system, and if Okami can, or whichever team manages to win this grand final, will get the first seed into that gauntlet, which means they only have to play one game, and if they win that, then they manage to take away some Six Invitational points, which is huge, and it's absolutely what both of these teams are gunning for. Wildcard went to the Six Invitational, and they didn't have a great performance. They want to go back in 2021, and Okami have never made it to a global finals. They finally want to break through and play with the big boys.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, Dev. Wildcard have only lost a single map throughout this entire competition. Man, they have been such a dominant force, and the finals has been no different.
But before the Six Masters, Wildcard actually had quite a few trials and tribulations. After Season 10 of Pro League, where they really peaked, they managed to take it within one round of taking down Na'Vi, the eventual champions of the entire Pro League. But after that, you know, they dropped the Six Invitational. They really dropped the ball there, and the Season 10 locally in ANZ was the worst that they've ever seen before, coming fourth. Coming into Six Masters, I think we're finally seeing the wild card that we've been waiting for with these roster changes, bringing on the young gunners, Pat and Gio. I think this is finally the team that can take that mantle as the best in Oceania.
Of course, heading into the finals, Ethan was the top kill scorer across the entire league, and he had over a 2KD in competitive play. That is absolutely nuts, and the finals have been no different. He's been showing up really big here for his team.
It's funny, like, you look at these replays and you're thinking, wow, which player for Wildcard is popping off just like nobody's business. It's everyone. Like, Pat had an insane game against Knights, and we had, like, Gio popping off just yesterday. Ethan, obviously such a consistent performer, but Diesel also had some great clutches, and I mean, you can't discount Emorin, right, as well. So while this is a team that plays like a team and has the strategic depth that seems seemingly unparalleled locally, they also can just step it up and play hugely as individuals when it matters most in those clutches.
Well, they came into the finals the third seed, but they fought their way into the grand final. It is Okami lineup on screen now. And again, if there's a one player you would think that would always be the highlight, it is Ippy Style. But in this tournament, he's been a little bit quieter. The rest of the team really stepping up.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Ippy Styles kind of known to be one of the best fraggers in the entire region, but some teams have done a really good job at shutting him down. For example, just earlier tonight, Knights taking on these guys in the lower bracket final, they counter-banned Ippy Style, getting rid of the Jaeger, and he struggled a little bit. So we're really hoping that he can step it up here against Wildcard when they need it most. But what's been great is with those shoes not filled, other people have been stepping into them, and that's people like Joker, like Cutie, who's had a great season. And Joker and Mangoes in particular, I've seen some great players from both of them. And Okami is really looking, in my opinion, the best that we've seen them in such a long time, if not ever.
Of course, as you mentioned, they actually did play earlier today against the Knights, and I think the fact that they had quite a dominant performance will aid them in having some confidence against Wildcard, who are, in their own right, a pretty scary team to take on. So any confidence they can draw from that earlier match should serve them well.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, isn't it? Like talking to Sentis, the coach, afterwards in that interview, there was a question came out about the map veto phase, and Okami said, well, we actually were going to pick Theme Park, but then Knights picked it, so we were like, well, I guess that's a freebie for us. And then Okami went to 7-1 Knights on their own map pick, going into their own map pick of Villa, which is a map they are proven on. They didn't have too much trouble at all closing out the series in a convincing 2-0. So while we're really pumping the tires of Wildcard here and saying that they are totally the favorites in the region, and I don't want to take anything away from that, Okami are an underdog with actually maybe some suggestion that they could take this championship for themselves.
They could be a chance. Of course, this grand final is a best of 5, and because Wildcard fought their way through the upper bracket, they have a one map advantage heading into this one, Dev. We've seen it before. We saw it even in the 6th Invitational Grand Final, for example, SSG. They had that map advantage. That really aided them in being able to win that matchup. Could we see something similar here this evening?
Yeah, well, SSG wouldn't have won the 6th Invitational without that map advantage. They almost were reverse swept with 3 maps from NIP, and that's the kind of thing we've seen in the past as well. So I'm totally looking at Okami here to step it up and start strong, to put Wildcard on the back foot and maintain that, or I guess equalize where they're already, Okami are already at a map deficit. So looking to overcome that, I think that they've got what it takes.
Well, the best of 5 does shuffle up the way that the veto plays out a little bit. Each team will get 1 ban. So we'll roll through those first and then explain the rest of the process. Again, one ban for each team. Conceal up there for Okami, and then Wildcard will ban our border for probably the 30th time in a row ever.
I was really hoping that finally we would see. I mean, it's leaving the map pool. This is the last ever series in ANZ that can have border in it, and I thought maybe Wildcard would let it through, but no, they literally banned it every single game in 6 Masters. Wildcard just have a 6-map pool, and that means from Akami's perspective, they're thinking, okay, what do we want to ban out off of Wildcard? Like, they're really good at Clubhouse. They 7-0'd Knights on it the other day, but they're also really good at Consular, and let me just double check this. Consular indeed was the map that Wildcard 7-0'd Okami just a few weeks ago in the final round robin of the 6 Masters. So I think a smart move from Okami, even though Consular's historically a pretty good map for them, they were dumpstered by Wildcard on it fairly recently. So just get rid of that, and it means we're likely to see some of the favorite maps from both of these teams come out. Okami, whether it's a cafe or a villa, Wildcard maybe a clubhouse. Might even see a theme park sneak in there too, since Okami have revealed to us just this morning that is a favorite map of theirs.
Well, the teams will now alternate picks leading up to the final decider. We'll start off with the first 2 picks, again, 1 from each team. Cafe there for Okami, and then it will be Villa from Wildcard, which we actually saw them take on each other yesterday.
Yeah, a bit of a rematch, really. It's kind of funny to see Wildcard pick Villa there, because that is was Akami's pick last time these guys played each other, and it was also Akami's pick against Knights just earlier today. So it shows the confidence from Wildcard to take Okami on a map that they are so good at, because Wildcard really backed themselves on there, and obviously coming after playing, these teams played each other on the map yesterday, Wildcard's even more confident they can beat them again. That was only a 7-5, but then confident they can maybe slide that even further in their favor. As for Okami, Cafe's been a favorite map of theirs during the season. Now, they did drop it in particular to Wildcard, this very team, last time these guys played each other in the 6 Masters online phase at a 3-7. So maybe that's not the best result, but prior to that, you know, they've beaten teams like Sinister, they've beaten teams like LFO and Kanga on the map. So there is some kind of semblance of strength there for Okami.
Well, that does leave 3 more maps in the pool. Let's roll through the remaining picks and see what the decider will be. Keep in mind that decider will actually be the auto win for Wildcard because they have that 1 map advantage. Dev, we see Okami pick Theme Park and then Wildcard to close things out on Club.
Yeah, so Clubhouse is a great map for wildcards. These guys played each other on it just yesterday, and wildcard 173 makes sense. If anything, I'm surprised that wasn't wildcard's first pick over Villa, but I guess that they're extra confident in their Villa. And as for Theme Park, I've seen a running pattern here. I mean, yes, Okami just 7-1 Knights on that this morning. They're very much warmed up on the map, and prior to that, we'd never seen Okami play it. So wildcard haven't had a lot of time to do counter-stratting since this morning, basically. But prior to that, teams have been picking Theme Park against Wildcard quite a few times, and it's never worked out for the teams that pick it against them. Like, Wildcard never pick Theme Park, but whenever they play it, they dumps the opponent on it. That's against Sinister, against Kanga 7-0, so a bit of a risky play for Okami there.
I mean, I think it's probably fair to say, as you've mentioned before, that Wildcard do have this 6-map pool, so it's almost a matter of no matter what map you go to, you're going to be under pressure, and the results have shown that. 1 map loss throughout the entire season, and funnily enough, it was actually on Clubhouse, but then they've turned it around. I mean, in the finals in day 1, they dumpstered Pittsburgh Knights 7-0.
Yeah, it's seemingly like one of their best maps now, which is funny because I was actually thinking, like, coming into the playoffs, right? I was thinking we're probably going to see Sinister Wildcard in the final. Sinister are really good at Clubhouse, so maybe that will be like, maybe they'll pick that and they'll expose Wildcard's weakness on that map that they had to LFO. I was completely wrong. Sinister's out. They came last in the playoffs. They came 4th. Okami is here to stay, and Wildcard now are amazing on Clubhouse. So this is pretty nuts, right? Like, looking into this series, you've got Kafe, like, both teams are pretty good at this map. The head-to-head victory goes with Wildcard. Both teams are really good on Villa, and that's a rematch from yesterday. And you just keep going through. Like, Theme Park is probably, to me, the most exciting one because we're guaranteed to see it. Actually, no, not necessarily. Because if Wildcard 2-0, we won't see Theme Park. But I hope we see it. I hope Okami wins on Kafe or Villa. Because if we do see Theme Park, like, Okami, the only strats they've revealed is in that 7-1 earlier today against Knights. And 2 things that come with that. 1, Wildcard haven't had very much time to be like, okay, let's VOD them like over time and write lots of notes. Like, they haven't had that time. It's just this morning. And secondly, a 7-1 doesn't necessarily expose a lot of Okami's strategies, right? That's a very convincing scoreline. So I'm really hoping we get to Theme Park.
Well, let's see what you folks at home think. How close do you reckon this matchup will be? Let's bring up that vote result. And it's actually 76% in favor of Wildcard. A lot of that, again, international success. They have the map advantage and they're looking red hot.
Yes. I mean, when you're talking about a team that's undefeated so far in the playoffs and almost undefeated so far in the league, I'm going to count how many maps Wildcard has won in a row. And don't worry, I'm going to get my spreadsheet to do it for me so my maths can't be incorrect. 12 maps in a row. 12 maps in a row in the Six Masters. Wildcard has won, not lost. They have won. They have been red hot right now. They have a map advantage. Okami might be warmed up, but Wildcard have been sitting back and watching them and figuring out how to beat them. So they're definitely favored in this series.
Well, I mean, one thing we sort of touched on a little bit earlier, but didn't really delve into, is the fact that these 2 teams have actually already played each other in the playoffs. It was a 2-0 in favor of Wildcard, a pretty dominant performance from them. Villa, which is a map we hopefully will see tonight, again, was a 7-5 in favor of Wildcard, a little bit closer, but that second map, it's really started to run away in the hands of Wildcard.
It's funny because when you look at, like, overall teams head-to-head, you think, well, we don't really know. They probably haven't been playing each other in scrims because they're trying to hide from each other. Fair enough. And so they won't really know each other that well. That's not so much the case here because Wildcard and Okami played on the 11th of June in the Six Masters round robin phase, right? And that's only less than a month ago. They played 2 maps. They played Kafe and Consulate. Wildcard won both very dominantly. And then, once again, yesterday, as you mentioned, they played Clubhouse and Villa. Wildcard won both of them. Villa wasn't dominant, but it was a victory without going to overtime, and Clubhouse was dominant. So 3 out of 4 of the times that these guys have played each other in the last month, one being yesterday, Wildcard has won dominantly. Now, they only have to win 2 maps here in this best of 5 because they have that map advantage. That is such a huge boon here for Wildcard, and that's why we're really looking at Okami and saying, look, guys, you have the momentum. That's something that Wildcard doesn't have. They haven't been playing all morning. They haven't been warmed up. They've just been sitting there watching you guys stomp all over Knights, right? Okami, they're warmed up. They need to step up huge here. They need to get some wins, maybe on their first map, Kafe. Hopefully get some revenge on Villa, and that will set them up much more nicely for the series, and I think most people are expecting.
We've seen it time and time again, right? Wildcard is the team that will bring the strategy and the adaptation tenfold to any map. We saw it yesterday on Villa so many times, countering their playstyle. And we could well see something very, very similar again here tonight. The entire season has been leading up to this moment. It's time for map number 1 in the Six Masters Grand Final. It's Wildcard and Okami. The map is Kafe Dev. Let's jump in.
Finally, we are here, guys, and Wildcard versus Okami is a match guaranteed to deliver. Once again, a rematch. Once again, a grudge match. Both of these teams have been ever the bridesmaids in the shadow of Fnatic, who are no longer in the Oceanic region, so both of them have their opportunity to shine. Wildcard, the clear favorites here, but Okami warmed up and looking for an upset. Let's dive into this ban phase. Okami going to get rid of the Capitao. Wildcard, the Thatcher. Nothing too crazy here so far in terms of the wildcard pick there, Thatcher. It's like basically, I think, like, let me have a look through. It's like almost every single game they played in the Six Masters, they've banned that out. So pretty normal stuff. And for Okami, they do love their Capitao bans as well. It's a very common one for them. And the Pulse as well, something they banned against Wildcard just the other night as well. Not necessarily too much success. We've seen how good it can be as well in the hands of players like Diesel, Emo, on both teams, especially on Villa. So once again, this is exactly what we saw yesterday. The Pulse and Valkyrie bans on Clubhouse, that came out from both of these teams. It's just funny, these teams both banning that. Okay, cool. Once again.
Third floor will be the first side of choice for Wildcard. They're starting on the defense, positioning themselves nicely to try and get an early lead here on Okami's pick. Try and put the pressure on their opponents. As you alluded to earlier, Dev, Okami did play earlier this evening against the Knights, a pretty dominant 2-0. They'll be nice and warmed up. That'll favor a team like them, who are often frag heavy, like to play aggressive. Wildcard, on the other hand, though, that could be a little bit cold. Not sure exactly if they've done any warm-up, maybe a scrim, maybe some aim training, or maybe just chilling and watching the VOD. Whatever works. I mean, as you mentioned, 12 map wins straight. I think they know what they're doing, rather, at this stage of the season.
Well, it does. It is a good question. You know, do you do a warm-up scrim? Do you just do aim training? Do you just chill out? Because you don't want to throw yourself off. I know of one particular team back quite a few seasons ago that going in before a very important game, they scrims, and a particular player on that team dropped a 20 bomb. And then in the game, they dropped like 3 kills. It was the worst game they've ever had in their history. And so sometimes a warm-up scrim is not actually the best option for you. So it does kind of put the onus on Wildcard here and say, like, don't come in cold, right? You're on the defense. Yeah, that should in theory be favored. But you better come out strong because Okami are warmed up.
Of course, if you are just joining us, you'll notice at the top of the graphic that there's 3 small boxes next to each logo. This is a best of 5, and Wildcard do have a map advantage, so we'll get that filled in eventually. That decider map, the map that was left out in Coastline, will be theirs. It's up to Okami to really mount some momentum in their favor, particularly here on their first map. If they lose this one, Dev, it's going to be really tough to come back.
It looks like Okami are very aware of any aggression from Wildcard, or very cautious, I should say. C4 comes out, but that's an air ball. And Diesel's still sitting in piano here. I think he backs off there just for a little bit, and Okami start to drone this out. 1 minute wasted. Decent information, but not a lot of progress as of yet. You'll notice the castle barricades used to cut the rotation and those angles between piano and cigar. Make it a bit more difficult there for the attackers to affect one room with control of the other, or control from these windows. So still, we have Emo Rin in the pixel corner, holding as long as he can with the Wamai. That's Okami's first job, to clear him out.
Critically, that shield is still in position. Emo Rin able to play off that. The air jab We'll knock him to the ground, but he still survives. Grenade follows up, but he's well and truly protected. Well played by him. A lot of time soaked up, and Okami now only have over a minute to try and progress in towards site. The next job is likely to open the freezer wall, but with his limited time on the board, that could be a challenge.
They dispatch with that Evil Eye, though, and that helps out. And as you mentioned, time here being the biggest contender of Okami. Clicking out another magnet, and Wildcard playing the long game here. Deciding to fall back instead of dying early. You'll notice as well, Diesel was downstairs, but he's already used his C4, so he can't use that to deny plant, but he can shoot up through holes in the floor if Wildcard have the info. And Ethan's also poised for a red flank as well. Okami have so much to be cautious of here in the late round.
30 seconds left. Emo Rin's droned. Ethan still roaming on the bottom floor. Expect him to flank late. As Okami have prepped this plant on the southwest corner of the objective. It's a site, or a plant spot rather, that they often favor, but they don't have a lot of time to convert. 15 seconds left now. Every member of Wildcard on the board, but the plant's going down. The question is, where's the denial? I don't think it's there. Wildcard should be able to deny, but they don't. The plant goes down. Ethan finds one, and now it's a post plant here. They're trying to reposition, trying to clear these defenders, but if Okami gets someone on the roof, they should be able to win this round, Dev.
This is why it's so important here for Wildcard to win these next few engagements. Two players now pushing in through White Hallway, but both of them get taken down there. The air jab for the first, and now it's all on Diesel in a 1-on-3. Such a difficult position to be in here for the support, and as you mentioned, if a player can get to the roof for Okami, this is nigh impossible. Just 12 seconds left on the timer, and Okami start this map strong here and take the first attack onto Wildcard.
Big oversight made by Wildcard in that round. No one able to deny the plant. No C4s coming out. No verticality from below. Probably the easiest plant you'll ever get off in that position. Often it's just bombarded with utility, but on that occasion, Wildcard either unaware or miscommunicating that plant spot. Okami capitalize and will take round number 1 here. A great start for them, and we're going to see Wildcard now rotate downstairs.
Does make you wonder a little bit what happened there for Wildcard. That strategy I mentioned of not getting too aggressive, just peeling back and letting Okami kind of take that ground, waiting for the time to run out. That only works if you can deny plant. Now, there was no smoke picked for Wildcard. That's the simplest way to just deny late entries and counter, or I guess take advantage of a slow attack. And secondarily, you could use C4s to deny the plant. Now, the only operator that could bring C4 was Diesel on the mute, and he used his C4 very early as an aggressive throw out through the piano window, and that found nothing. It does make you wonder a little bit what happened there for Wildcard. They need to have some more effective plant denial. Otherwise, the strategy of just letting Okami take ground is just gonna, well, let Okami take ground, let Okami take rounds as well. So a good start here for the attacking side, and we'll keep looking to them as we rotate through bomb sites.
10 seconds remaining.
The castle being brought here by Wildcard. 2 of those barricades being used to protect that red hallway as they try and hold above. So potential late flank opportunities for them. It's not often we see defenders invest so much above. So Wildcard, this is definitely a pre-planned strategy, something that they've been practicing behind the scenes. It is a risky strategy though. If Okami can tear it apart, I'll definitely be worse for wear here.
And that's why we look at it be style. Is he going all the way to the roof? This seems to be a top-down clear strategy from Okami. Now, that is one way to deal with this second floor roam from Wildcard. What's this nade? What's the purpose of that? I don't know what util was under there. Is it just to take out any player that was sitting in that spot? I mean, that would have been a nice nade, but a bit of a waste of utility with no info. And now AP Style going to jump on in. Vulnerable to C4s from below. Pat in reading. And pillars. Maybe able to find one.
EP Style just probing, spraying and praying, trying to see if he can get this opening pick. Unable to get a pick in the final round, but it didn't really matter. It wasn't as frag heavy as Okami would have expected, at least not until the post plant, where it was pretty comfortable for them in that round. Emorin still holding above the inside of Train. Will likely be droned out, but those Mozzie pets may delay that, and the hatch is open, so he has an opportunity to rotate.
Yeah, I think once again this isn't
I think the great sign is that they've wasted half the round dev, so it's a great start for them.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going to mention. I think this the idea here for Emo is exactly that. He's going to just back off, right? So he wastes time. He plays up, shoots a few drones, and then gets downstairs safely. And now we're at a 5-on-5 on site. Now the sledge is going to make getting rid of those armor panels from the castle very easy. But he'll have to mince up the floor and find these players on site. And Okami also have to decide what kind of an execute they're going for. It looks like with Mango's the hard breach positioned over at Bakery side, that's where they'll mount their push. And most of Wildcard are positioned on the east side of the map, the opposite. But Diesel still in Bakery means that it's quite difficult for Okami to clear this out late. And, well, Diesel needs to stay alive as long as he can and delay that time. Hopefully find a pick. If it's onto Mango's, that would be huge.
Cutie does get the opening kills. Diesel gets flashed. Surely they can push in Bakery, but instead Mangoes will hold out. Ippy style as well. Joker could try and pinch. Those castle barricades could pose an issue though. Diesel is finally taken out. 30 seconds on the board and Okami have that man advantage. It's up to Wildcard now to hold out the push. Mangoes, who we did see at Bakery, has the diffuser in hand. He'll have to try and attempt the plan. Emo, Rin, and Ethan are in positions to deny Geo holding the flank. Great positions here for Okami are being held. They just need to convert.
There's just no time trying to hard breach the wall into sight. It's very late for Okami. Now Geo needs to find this flank watch on the stairs. Misses some shots. Spanny loses the fight. But Emo to find two on site and Ethan for one means that the only player left is the flank watch. And Wildcard do lock out that very late and desperate push in through Bakery into the bomb site. Very nice stuff. And that evens us up 1-1 apiece.
A little bit perplexed as to what happened there on the Bakery wall. Not sure where Mango's expended the rest of his X-Kairos if he used 2 on the prep wall and only had 1 for the main wall. Either way, though, they were forced to filter through that prep room, were sprayed down, and then, of course, no time left to recover that diffuser and re-attempt a plant. So good recovery there from Wildcard will even out the scoreline. Still early days here on Kafe, our first map in this best of 5. I like that 6 pick, Geo jumping onto Ella, an operator that we don't see a whole lot of play.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
Yeah, usually you pick an Ella because she's so specifically good at one thing, and like with that gun, it's really particularly those close quarters engagements, and she comes with a shield as well, so she's really great. Oh, and her Grismots, like their Grismots also impact the ability to hold small areas in close quarters engagements. So whether that's playing here in around Pixel, he's going to put a shield there. That doesn't necessarily mean the Ella's going to play there. The Grismot's likely to be placed in positions to prevent aggression from Okami. Now that could be in the white hallway from Pixel, could be a cocktail, could be near the bomb site. A lot of options here for Geo. But overall, the strategy for Wildcard is pretty typical. To hold top floor, a couple mute jammers. Oh, that's a nice one. So anyone who drops down the skylight will get Grismotted. Anyone who rushes through the east door is going to get Grismotted. 1 left, 1 ice cream cone still in the pocket for Geo. Imagine if you actually kept ice cream in your pocket. That'd be disgusting. Yeah, don't do that.
Oh, I was going to continue the joke, but Diesel's not playing around. He drops Mangoes very early in the round. I'm tipping that was a spawn peak as well.
Wow.
So that's their one and only hard breach. Take it out. Devastating start here for Okami. Keep in mind that this is actually a fireplace and mining hold, not reading. Arguably the 4th most popular or the least popular of the 4 sites here on Kafe. Wildcard quite confident in their site selection.
It seems like Wildcard's site rotation is as flexible as their map rotation. But that pick, as you mentioned, the hard breach going down, maybe it would have been more impactful on a kitchen or a bar attack, but it's still going to be a struggle here for Okami. They don't have a way of opening the top red into piano. They don't have a way of opening the hatch on the train. Now that's a huge one. Most importantly, they are 1 man down and losing drones by the minute as well. Jack Daddy's completely out of drones. Joker and Cutie only have the 1 left, so we're going to be leaning on Ippy style, and now he's the entry fragger, so he's less likely to be droning here. Just holding this flank at White Stairs.
Ethan holding that cocktail rappel from below. More drones heading out here. Hearing a couple of proximity alarms go out as well. I'm assuming those were from Emo Rin. Of course, those were added in Steel Wave, and many of these teams didn't really have to deal with that for the majority of that regular season because the Steel Wave released after it. Again, these teams forced to adapt on the fly, and that could play into Wildcard's hands. Time and time again, we see them adapt. And with a minute to go here, they are looking pretty good on round number 3.
So, Okami, what you going to do here? 4v5, no numbers. Slowed down. Trying to clear out reading, which isn't even the bomb site, as you mentioned. It is mining and fireplace. Do they even know? Geo to open things up once again. A 3 versus 5 now for Okami, and this is getting more and more difficult. Jack Daddy finally fights back. 30 seconds left. And have they finally realized there's the bomb? The pulse spotted out as well. Jack Daddy moving up forward. 30 seconds. In this 3v5, they've got to step it up here.
Okami still with the man disadvantage. Imorin holds the gets a double headshot. Drops the diffuser and Cutie's left in a 1-on-4. A desperate nade will come out. It probably won't connect. It doesn't. And this round will go in favor of Wildcard. That'll be 2 rounds straight for them in the bank. Solid start here on Okami's map pick.
Goes to show you play objectives, you don't repeat. Keep moving through your confident selection of bomb sites that you can go through. Establish some dominance at the start. Diesel, who's typically the support player, going for a spawn peek. And that's nice, especially when you take out the enemy support player. I think overall you can read into it a little bit and say that Okami struggled with their information gathering last round. Not only did they have to deal with the mute jammers and the castle barricades denying line of sight, but on top of that, their support player was dead, and he's usually the player that has those spare drones. By what, the 3v5, the 4v5, Ippy was the only player left with 2 drones. Joker was completely... Oh, Jack Daddy was completely out. Joker and Cutie only had 1 apiece, and that makes it so difficult for Okami to drone out these roamers, find where they are, and pinch onto them. Even if you have that vertical presence, even if you have control of bar and cocktail, and you're trying to kill those players down and reading, it's so difficult to do that without info.
Wildcard will go full circle, heading back upstairs now. They attempted this on the very first round here on Kafe. They actually lost it pretty convincingly, going in favor, of course, of Okami. They got the plant down uncontested, were able to then hold pretty strong positions, particularly with 1 player on the roof. It's on Wildcard now to try and adapt that and make sure that they can deny that plan, or at least prevent Okami from being in a position to get it down.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah, so for Wildcard, that is the problem that they had last time, that plant denial. But for the same operator lineup, it means that they'll still only have that 1c4 and no gas babes to deny that late plant. I feel like a smoke would perfectly complement Wildcard's strategy here, just to delay that time. And, well, because they're playing into the time-wasting strategy on this top floor, and it took so long for Okami to take piano and be ready for an execute last time, if you have that smoke, it just compounds that issue for the attackers. But the main thing I'm going to be looking at in this round is, as you said, the plant denial, in particular Diesel with his C4, keeping that in the pocket for a bit longer. Perhaps even for Wildcard to find an early aggressive pick, as Diesel did in that prior round.
Ethan again roaming below, going 2-1-1 so far. He's had a great season and a great finals campaign at that. Early days here on Kafe. He's been a little bit quieter than usual, but his services haven't necessarily been required, as Mangbase finds himself inside of Cigar Shop. Those castle barricades, again, will waste time and or utility. Imorin currently going 5-1 himself, holding Pixel once again. We saw him drain a lot of time and utility last time, which again, ultimately didn't serve his team well enough, but he needs to try and do this once again.
And he's lost that shield, so he's going to back on out. If you recall, last bar on cocktail defense, Imorin backed out of that aggressive position at Pixel without wasting too much time, without getting too aggressive. He, once again, just decided to let Okami waste time for themselves instead of playing for his life. And he'll now play inside of the bathroom instead. We look at Ippy style now with no utility remaining. He'll just rely on this R4C and his teammates' calls. Looking overall, we still have some good util on Jack Dad. He'll use that to destroy, I believe that was an Evil Eye. But overall, it's still pretty stark for utility here. Cutie completely out of drones. Not sure if he has any nades left, but with 50 seconds, Okami are making some decent progress. But that's a great bulletproof camera for Pat.
This freezer angle has been exposed by Mangoes. Could be used against them. They will need to be mindful of that. Pat could wide swing that late round as they have breached the wall. Mangoes with the diffuser in hand, likely to go for that same plant once again, but Cutie gets the opening with a nade. That's Pat taken out in freezer. He can't wide swing that anymore, and Ippy Style gets one as well. Mangoes will use that as a cue to attempt the plant. Stick is going down, but Emo Rin, he could deny this. He gets one. As Geo will clean up that planted dev 3-on-3 with 15 seconds left.
15 seconds left.
Diesel critically still has this C4, tosses it on out. That denies the plant from Cutie. Now Ippy Style, no, that's Joker pushing up. He's shut down as well. It's all on Style now. Downstairs with no teammates, no hope, nothing to salvage here, and the timer runs out. That's Wildcard. 3 defense rounds in a row.
It was a pretty simple adaptation from that first round. All it took was that C4 to deny that plant, forcing Okami to rush for frags, leaving them in a 1-on-3. Unwinnable there for Ippy Style. A great round for Wildcard, who despite being at that early man disadvantage, were able to fight it out, grit their teeth a little bit, get that round win.
It was a 3 versus 5 for Wildcard with 25 seconds left. Now, that is such a poor position to be in, except for when you have plant denial. And that's the critical thing there for Okami. They have the decision. We've got numbers advantage. Do we force out this plant and risk it being denied, or do we try and chase for kills? Now, they did a little bit of both, with Joker pushing aggressively up bar, but that plant just was not able to be secured, as you mentioned, with that C4. Now, I also want to mention the bulletproof camera from Geo that we saw spotted out there on the new balcony underneath that new hatch. Such a pivotal piece of information gathering for Wildcard to leverage, because it stared directly at Okami's default plant spot just at that wall in 2 piano to bar. So really great adaptations across the board from Wildcard. And it goes to show how important it is to keep that utility in the bag late round. Now, speaking of utility lost early, that is a drone taken out there by Ethan. I believe that was Joker's. Overall, Okami have struggled a bit with this drone game. So many times we've looked at the drone count on the scoreboard and just seen that a player's got 0 drones left, a player's maybe just got 1 drone left. And Wildcard are playing into that with this mute and with this Mozzie and shooting as many drones and then backing off so that the information gathered by those drones is no longer relevant.
As you alluded to, Wildcard's setup indicates that they will be holding above, and those drones will be critical in locating so many of these roamers. At least 3 here on that second floor. That's a lot for Okami to deal with if they do end up attempting this roam clear. Looks like they will. Joker droning out pillars. So there's 1 in reading. They can call that one out, but that's only a small piece of this larger puzzle. Wildcard, a very, very confident setup here for this kitchen defense.
And that's Joker completely out of drones. So that's one of your support players or flex support players. Typically would be droning in the teammates. And it really does make you question your roles. This is why we see some teams in the world, like G2, for example, they try and be more flexible with their roles. Oh, what a shot!
Oh.
That's disgusting for Emo. And Mango's gone down. Now, speaking of droning, that's your primary droner gone down. Now, Pat's going to take a few love taps from Emo, but fortunately, it won't matter too much. But so much information gathering denied already. Look at Okami right now. They've only got 2 of Ippy Styles drones, 2 Acuities, and 1 from Jack Dad. No hard breach either. This is going to be so difficult. Such a steep hill to climb.
That's the second time now where Mangoes has been that opening death for Okami. The last operator you want taken out on any map, on any objective, really will be that hard breach. The odds now well and truly against the attack here. Okami desperately not wanting Wildcard to gain a significant lead here. Unfortunately, this round surely will not go their way. They're yet to even recover that diffuser with a minute to go. It does look like a player may be near it, but there's a whole lot they still need to deal with on site, Dev.
Yeah, finally, Joker grabs that diffuser, but 5v4, yes, Pat's lit up, but there's just no information. Okami are starved right now, trying to take from VIP side. There's the castle. Joker lands a few shots into him, finishes him off there, but Jack Daddy to refrag out Pat. We're at a 3 versus 3 now, so numbers are nice and even. That's a bit of progress for Okami, but they're running out of time, and there's no clear way that they can get access to site. With Freezer fully reinforced and no Hibana, Baker is going to be difficult as well. They're going to walk right into this crossfire down the hallway.
Ethan whiffs it initially, but manages to pick up the kill. Wide swings and downs the second. Diesel actually collecting that kill in the end. Q is forced to drop the freezer hatch. The sound Q has gone out. The pre-fire will follow, but Wildcard will take the round in the end, and they're looking very dominant here on Kafe.
It's just beautiful to see when that perfect storm happens and Wildcard just stand there in those crossfires, catching the Okami players with their pants down. And Okami, once again, really struggling in this early to mid action phase. It was 1:55 on the clock when that aggressive peak comes out. Now, you can't really blame Mangoes there. That was an insane shot from Emo, but the repercussions of Mangoes dying there were just huge for Okami. And added to that, the fact that the second droner of Joker had already lost his drones meant that there was just no info, no hard breach, no avenues into the site. Okami had to funnel. They didn't know if the roam was clear. Wildcard playing into it perfectly.
A little bit of a concerning start here for Okami. Last time these two actually played this map was the final week of the regular season. Did go in favor of Wildcard 7-3, and the way this map is trending, we could see a similar, if not more dominant performance in favor of Wildcard, especially if Okami can't get a second defensive win, or a second attacking win, rather. They want to gain some momentum heading into that defense, give themselves some confidence. We've seen Wildcard bring such confidence setups. Again, they will bring that castle, helping to extend their hold. And Okami really struggling to break through that.
5 seconds left before insertion.
I would have thought that Okami would have had maybe a bit more success here on the attack after they started so strongly, but it's been a difficult trek for them. And I know I talked a lot about this drone game, but that is once again, Joker's drone dies in the prep phase, and this time it didn't just die, but you heard Gio, my drone army grows by 1. Grab that one.
He can. Good impression. Am I casting with Martin Copping right now? Wait, what?
Yes, you are. Yeah, my name's.
Oh.
I've changed my name to Martin Copping now. Yep. Gio positions that drone just on the crapper. Good info late round though.
You're going to see Okami enter from the very top floor here as they progress towards Cocktail. Diesel holding this position, Emo Rin holding the white corridor. And as you can see, there is a bucket load of utility to assist. They have the Jaeger ADS devices, mute jammers to protect the reinforcements, and it's up to Okami to clear that or try and progress through it. We do see Mango's expend an X-Kairos on that single wall, but as I mentioned earlier, it is likely mute jammed, and he won't be able to blow that. Joker's in a great position to sandwich here from the rappel, is forced to hit down that barricade. Diesel will be well and truly aware that there is a player behind him, but he can sit tight. He doesn't need to peek that.
That hard breach, greatly positioned there from the Hibana to expose that angle that Diesel's playing. And now his shield destroyed.
Oh.
That was a beautiful dance there for Okami. And Ippy Style finds that kill. That is some Cocktail control started off, and Jack Daddy to find one as well. 5v3 now for Okami. Maybe they will be able to steal one more round here on their attack.
It has been a rough half so far. A 2-4 result for them wouldn't be terrible, but Ippy Style's being lit up, lucky to get away with his life. C4 goes out, but can't collect them. Unless Ethan has one, that'll be all of them expended this round. He doesn't. So the plant denial could be a struggle here for Wildcard already at that man disadvantage. It's really up to Okami now to set up for this plant. Mangoes has rotated towards pillars. Ready and waiting at this door, likely to run straight to his hard right behind that bookshelf, try and get that plant down, and it's going to be up to Wildcard to somehow deny it.
The Joker to just add to it means that Wildcard need to get aggressive here, but Pack can't land the shots there with the UMP. Where is Gio? Still a player on the white stairs. Perhaps Wildcard could have flanked that, but no, it's a red stairs flank here for Gio. There's a player watching for it. It's Jack Daddy. The plant gets forced down. And that is a flawless attack from Okami. They started strong, they finished strong. And that maybe does give us some confidence going into Okami's defense.
A little bit of a strange half at that, winning only the first round and the last of that. It was turbulent in the middle, but Okami managed to salvage a pretty decent result here on Kafe. Anticipating their defense to be very strong here. It is their map pick. Third floor will be their first site of choice. Cutie jumping onto Alibi. If he sticks this, which it looks like he is, that could open up some pretty intriguing opportunities here, as Castle will be again brought to the board here by the defense.
Yeah, the surprising thing for me is that Okami is not going to bring the Goyo. It's one of their favorites, especially here on Kafe. But no, deciding to 6-pick off of that for the Castle, as you mentioned, super common. In fact, works really well in tandem with the Goyo because it's even more utility that the attackers have to get rid of with their explosives and drains that utility that the attackers have brought to the table. But that castle barricade on the external window there will be dispatched with really easily. Same with this one right here because Imarin's running the sledge. And he can just rappel up and smack that, get rid of it nice and easy. So in some ways, only this single castle barricade here will actually require explosives to be destroyed. Having a look at the placement of the prismas, this is a strategy we saw from Okami. I think it was yesterday against it must have been against Sinister. Yeah, it was the Sinister game. So it was on Friday. And playing the double shields here at Pixel, one actually in the more common Pixel spot, and the second one here in washrooms. And the alibis to just make it a bit more difficult for the attackers to spot out. I really like this strategy, and it worked so well against Sinister. Might work here against Wildcard as well.
For sure, in that Sinister game, it was actually Cutie playing behind that shield. He hit an absolutely nutty shot onto that rappel. So Imarin in that position currently will need to be mindful of that. It does appear as if Wildcard will play safe, heading to the roof first as refuge. Ethan already being pinged out by one of those prismas. Something that they'll need to be mindful of for the remainder of this round. Something that, of course, you can shoot out. If you shoot the little part of it at the bottom. I don't know the best way to describe it, where it projects the hologram.
Base.
Yeah, base, that's a good way. I'll go with that. And then you won't be detected, but the positions that Cutie has placed them in, you will have to expose yourself to, again, some of these other angles they have generated, so it is risky.
The uncommon thing here is Jack Daddy playing aggressively in piano. Quite a difficult position to flush out unless if someone repels on that south window, which I believe is going to happen now. Mango's taken out and finished off there. The Mute playing in Cigar Lounge, or Cigar Shop, I should say. Now pivotal here is Pat's position, trying to pinch onto Jack Dad. How long will Jack Dad be able to stay alive? But it's a great bait there. And Joker managed to take him out, repelling. There is a refrag from Ethan. That's still quite significant for Okami, but in numbers disadvantage here, Jack Daddy's life has a timer set on it, and if he gets taken out here, Wildcard will be in such strong position to execute and take this ground away from him.
Jack Daddy, funnily enough, playing on the Jaeger, not Ippy style. He is playing an Ippy style-esque position aggressively inside of Lounge. I think his position has been revealed. The nade gets cooked. Surely he's taken out, but no, he rotates. That player on the window failing to cover that angle, but he is finally shut down. It's Cutie and Ippy style now left in a 2-on-3. All three attackers are coming from this Lounge position, and Cutie still has the shield to work with. That Habana charge, though, might clear that and is forced to rotate to 90. Funnily enough, though, that second shield is still there, and Cutie can abuse that. He's ready and waiting for a player to push through shop. Question is, are Wildcard aware of this?
There's lots of drones still available for Wildcard, but they may be already deployed in preset positions and can't necessarily be accessed to flush out and check Pixel. It'd already found one on the round. Trying to step it up. Finishes off Geo. No refrag to come out. Looking to find Diesel as well. Cutie finally comes into a position. Diesel trying to force this plant down. A cocktail. Wildcard have duped their opponent. Now Cutie doesn't know where the plant is. He knew that there was a player at cocktail, though. It's a 1 versus 2 for the alibi. He's going to make it. Oh, no, he whiffs the shots. I was going to say that's a 1v1, but no, not so. And Diesel to punish Cutie in that position. Wildcard, it was slow, it was steady, but they get the job done.
Wildcard, of course, now 1 round away from securing a match point, and at the very least heading this game into overtime. It was a solid start for Wildcard in that round, getting that first pick. Did see the likes of Ippy Style stepping up late, but it wasn't quite enough. We know Wildcard have what it takes to win out these clutch scenarios, and that round was no different. They have a significant lead now. The pressure well and truly is on Okami's shoulders.
Especially remembering that this is Okami's map pick. This is where Okami wanted to take us. Next up is Villa, and well, just yesterday, Wildcard took down Okami 7-5 on that map. Kafe has been a mixed results kind of map for Okami. Overall, they beat some really strong teams. Teams like Sinister, twice in fact, teams like LFO, Kanga. But they've also struggled against Wildcard. And in fact, have lost this to Wildcard at a 7-3 just in the league phase before the playoffs started. What is that from Ethan? A little bit of a happy face? I don't know what's the context there. I missed that.
Not too
All right,
sure.
Ethan.
Well, he did get his drone taken out, so maybe it was in relation to that.
Oh, must be. Must be.
It wasn't impact tricked. I thought it may have been that, but
Maybe he got
either way.
zapped.
Potentially. Or reinforcement took it out. Of course, that can happen.
Why does it say 96 under... Oh, never mind. Over there's gone now. Wasn't important.
Like what?
There's a 96 under like Cutie's Mozzie Pest. I don't know what that means. He doesn't have 96 Mozzie Pest. What is this a rush? Wildcard did this on Villa yesterday. This is it.
Barricade gets smacked down. Ethan heading this rush through coat check. Oh, they're going to go straight for the main wall, Dev. This could be very, very dangerous. Are Okami aware?
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. All 5 of them
What
have
is
side
this?
control. Emo Rid will get the first pick. Diffuser going down by Diesel as the trades begin to come out. It's a 4-on-4. Diesel will surely be able to stick it. He does. Okami now with the man advantage. The rotate, though, it's shut down. It's Mangoes and Cutie now left to clutch it up. Make that a 1-on-2. It's Mangoes on the Bandit. He has the MP7 in hand. Likely doesn't have any intel, though. Will need to play off head checks. His vault will be his death. He elects not to go for it. Instead, rotating now to the bar. He will consider the vault in, though. Sound cube, will it go out? Yes, it does. Habana hears it. That's Diesel. Does a bit of damage. Mangoes now will whip out the pistol, but he needs to find 2. Wildcard in a perfect position to trade this out. Mangoes doesn't see Diesel. Will see 4, though. Doesn't hit the mark. Both players on Wildcard still 100 HP, and they will close out the round, Dev. They have got match point. What a rush.
That was insane. I just love to watch this from Wildcard. We saw it yesterday on Villa, the rush against Okami, and it worked flawlessly. It seems like that's the same again. And yes, the Wildcard numbers dwindled there, but for a moment, it was a 5 versus 5 with Wildcard full control of site and no one from Okami. You notice Ethan there. That's a critical moment right there. That potato onto the drone. Thanks, production. I actually want to acknowledge that for a moment, right? So in that moment, Ethan, the entry fragger, he checks garage. He sees what the garage setup is. He sees it as a player a little bit late on their setup, trying to take out his drone. And then his drone taken out. He chucks the smiley face in chat. And that is the moment when Ethan calls to his team, look, 3 of you guys are going to rush coat check, and 2 of us are going to rush garage. There's no one on site. Let's go for it. And that is the situation where it is totally worth losing your drone.
Scoreline now 6-2 in favor of Wildcard. If they win this map, Dev, it'll be a 2-0 lead in this series. And then we'll be heading to Wildcard's map pick, and they could be in a position to win this series 3-0. Of course, they still need to win one more round.
I was going to say, you can tell that Ethan's having fun when he chucks the smiley face in chat, and then next round he jumps on the Amaru. Like, I mean, if that was a rush, I want to know what Ethan's planning here. Maybe it's going to be some presence up through the cocktail balcony on the northeast side. Maybe not necessarily early, but oh, it might be early. He's positioning himself there. Can he get himself up onto this ledge with the hook? Or does he have to repel? He's going to repel. This actually may well be a rush here. Diesel previously got him this window. Ethan's ready for it, just waiting for the call from his teammates. This could be huge.
I'm expecting Giga to play a part in this and maybe try and disrupt that position. Maybe mask the sound. We know it's pretty difficult to counter Amaru unless you hear her. And it's not like the rappel is incredibly loud or incredibly easy to distinct where it is coming from. So this could well throw a spanner in the works. We don't see Amaru played a lot at all. In fact, I believe it was actually Okami who used it in a pocket strat a while ago earlier in the season as Wildcard. Just keep stacking this doorway as we wait for this round to explode.
I think they're all gonna, there are 3 of them are gonna rush the doorway straight into the, because this bomb site is reading. And Ethan wants to try and distract upstairs. Maybe Pat's gonna drop the skylight at the same time. But they're considering this, they're second guessing themselves. And you'll notice that Gio's lost both of his drones and Emo's lost one. Likely that is from them trying to figure out whether this rush is viable, and it looks like they've actually decided not to. So I like the gumption to consider that, but this late rotation could really punish Wildcard as they're already late on time.
He'd be inside of shop, trying to hold back this push, but it comes through strongly. That's an Emo Rid. Great kill from him. Ethan still outside here, waiting for the moment to rappel in, or grapple hook in, rather. Playing patiently. Bit of a standoff at the moment, only a minute to go. Wildcard really needs to kick into gear here.
Now, Kami are actually in a pretty good position on the round. Despite it being a 4 versus 5, they still have top floor control. Now, the really pivotal thing here for Wildcard is can they explode onto the site, or at least onto Cocktail here, and take out some players, overwhelm Mangoes and Cutie. Jack Dad to support, and Ethan is repelling. I think he's going to go for it in just a moment. Go for this gyro hook. He's ready for it, waiting for the call from his teammates. Jumps in through the window. Can he find a kill? He gets one. He downs the second. All very nearly, but it's just a 3-on-3 now. With 30 seconds left, Pat rounds the corner. The pre-fire comes out, and he finishes off Mangoes. But 20 seconds left. Wildcard have to execute, and they have to execute right now.
Hunting season for Wildcard, trying to close out this map, but time is running short. 10 seconds on the board to close this one out. Jack Daddy finds Ethan to keep his team's dream alive. He's alongside Joker to try and deny it as he finds his second. Emerin drops the hatch, but he doesn't have a lot of time. He gets taken off the board, and Okami will win round number 9.
In a 3-on-3, and Jack Dad finds all of the last ones. A testament to the old, that bullet hose never has to be reloaded. Insane stuff from Jack Dad, and it does make you wonder, what if Wildcard had maybe made the decision to take from Piano and Cigar a little bit earlier? Because they did find the opening pick, but in the early round when they were considering going for that, I guess you could say cheese kind of rush through the reading door, they wasted 3 drones and about a minute and a half doing that, and finally they went for, I guess you could say, their proper push in half the time that the action phase actually had to offer them. So, bit of a risk there from Wildcard. Perhaps it was still more successful than it would have been if they had just gone for that cheesy strat. Maybe it was, in fact, the wrong call. You could see they were clearly debating over it for quite some time. But I think that even though if Wildcard can do that well, with basically half the action phase, then it doesn't spell well for the next 3 match points that Okami are going to have to fight against.
Again, we are going to see Okami reattempt the top floor. It was their side of their first defense. They lost it to Wildcard. They hid the alibi on this occasion in the 6-pick phase, expecting Cutie to do a same, if not identical hold inside of bathroom with that shield. Just trying to slow down Wildcard's progression towards site. Try and make lounge even more difficult to obtain. Here we go, he will place that shield down. Castle barricades as well there to assist. It's up to Wildcard to try and clear this utility, or maybe even completely ignore it. We have seen other teams in the competition. Kangaroo is one that comes to mind that actually favored the Eastern take, instead getting control below, bucking out Cocktail, for example, and taking that side of the map, but it does appear as if Wildcard will commit to Cigar.
So, we know Wildcard are privy to occasional crazy strategies. Cheeky ones. Oh, that's a nice C4. Emo gets injured, down but not out. Is the revive going to come through? But that is Mango's C4. Now, we saw in the very first round of this map when Wildcard were defending Diesel wasted his C4 early to try and get an aggressive play, didn't get a kill, and ended up spelling death for his team because they didn't have enough Plantinol in the late round. Now, we may well see Okami feel the same fate.
Mangoes won't know it, but he did secure that down. No points in competitive. No point feed for the players to use for intel. Humarian will need to be mindful that he doesn't take on any ill-advised gunfights. A single hair's breadth away from death. I'm really intrigued by the fact that Jack Daddy's playing Jaeger here. We so often see Ippy Style playing that operator. Must be a comfort pick on this site for some reason. Jack Daddy a little bit quieter yesterday, but today has been playing quite well. Going 8 and 7. Holding a critical position here as long as he possibly can. Trying to delay the inevitable.
Whoop.
Mangoes will be taken out. A great bait with the nade. Diesel has the cross and will shut him down. And Wildcard will now need to try and convert that man advantage to a round win and a map win.
1 minute left, and still this presence in piano and washrooms. None of the shields have been destroyed yet for Wildcard, but still Pat ready and waiting with the explosives. But they need to ensure all the magnets and ADSs are cleared. Are they? Pre-fire comes out from Jack, doesn't find anything. Another stun goes out, and it doesn't get caught by anything. That tells Wildcard that the ADSs and magnets have been burned, and then the 2 explosives come through to deal with the shields, exposing both Jack and Cutie. This is such a difficult position for them. What can they do to salvage this?
Emorin will find one more. Jack Daddy's still prone on the floor. If he isn't spotted, he's in a great position. But if he is, Wildcard can surely take him down. Oh no, that's a misplay from Pat. He's taken down. The air jab will actually save Jack Daddy back, flying him back in towards the wall. He peeks it, sees a player in shop, and manages actually to get away. That's a misplay from Wildcard, who now have time against them. 5 seconds on the board. Ethan taken down as well. The plan's going down, but it's denied by Ippy Style, and surely they can just play time. Okami can secure this round. They will. And they keep the dream alive here on Kafe.
And maybe we're seeing Okami start to wake up here on their defenses. Wildcard found the first 2 in a row quite dominantly, I should say, as well. In particular, that kitchen cooking attack was just nuts. And then Okami to fight back with 2 of their own and win that one on time, despite having a man disadvantage late into the round. 20 seconds left. We're in a 5 versus 3 for Wildcard's perspective. But of course, Jack Daddy still being alive was a pivotal player there in piano, even though he only really found 1 kill. The fact that that prevented Wildcard from having the control they wanted and keeping that pressure down, that was so difficult for them. And then, of course, at the end of it, not only did we see Ethan, who was repelling east to try and have some pressure, he was taken out, but Ippy Style also to deny that plant. No C4 needed. As you would have noticed, Okami had already used their shotguns to break some holes in that bar, in that default plant spot, meant that Diesel had no cover as he was planting, and Ippy could just finish him off. Really good stuff. And look, guys, honestly, Okami have done better than the last time they played Wildcard on this map, which was a 7-3. And they're taking it pretty close here, despite some dominant rounds from Wildcard, so I wouldn't be too surprised if Okami can weather the storm and start to turn this around.
They do only need to find 2 more rounds. Then we'll head into overtime.
10 seconds remaining.
If Okami can replicate the form for the previous 2 rounds, that's definitely possible. Wildcard,
5 seconds left before insertion.
after that rush into kitchen to win that round, really struggled in the previous 2. Stalled out, taking their time. Okami able to capitalize. What's Wildcard going to do in response here? They need to try and step up here, try and win this map. It is, of course, Okami's map pick. If Wildcard do secure it, they are in a fantastic position to take this grand final.
Now going down to kitchen service. Now, of course, that Wildcard haven't actually really mounted like a proper attack. I say proper, I mean, they haven't really revealed their hand as to what their default attack strategy is for this map. This bomb site, I should say, as the last time it was that successful rush. Now, of course, that's going to make Okami a bit more wary, a bit more cautious, and play people on site. You'll notice Cutie watching one of those positions that 2 players rushed from last time. I think Wildcard have realized they can't cheese this out anymore. It might be good for 1 or 2 rounds, but they need to commit here to what we know them for, which is for that more typical methodical play style.
Pat droning ahead here for Emo Rin, who's been on fire so far on this map, 13 and 5. Actually one of, if not the lowest fraggers for this team during the regular season. So he's flicked a switch here on Kafe for the grand final, and no better time than that really to show up, get your name at the top of the leaderboard.
Emo actually found the first kill 3 attack rounds in a row, and then for that 4th attack round, he found the second kill. So he's been so good on these entries, so confident.
Pat will continue to drone forward, ensuring that mining and train are clear. The 2 rooms above the bomb site alongside dining as well, but no one playing in that position. Wildcard now satisfied with that, will progress forward. That's another floor secured, but the critical floor, of course, the objective, first floor, well and truly in the hands of Okami, who still have 5 members on the board.
Trying to enable this vertical potential is Wildcard, but they haven't found any kills to the floor yet. We're in a 5-on-5, 45 seconds left. Okami also haven't found any C4s back. That was one C4 tossed up. Emo gets lit to half HP. Another C4 misses. That's pretty important there, but Okami shouldn't sweat too much yet unless Wildcard can actually find picks. Now, this vertical play is all well and good, but you need to have some kind of horizontal pressure, and that's Ethan, but he's got a duel with Ippy Style on that Jaeger that he loves so much. Emo once again finds the opening kill, but we need to see Wildcard explode right now. Ethan taken out. Wildcard in a 4v4 with no sight control. This is so difficult, and they're all falling in through Freezer. No chance for this to work. Emo's been so good, but surely can't make this work. Finished off. Now it's all on Pat and Geo above. And they just don't have any way to get that diffuser down. Okami win the round on time.
Single round left here in regulation. Okami in a position to either draw out regulation and head this map to overtime, or for Wildcard to finally secure the map. They've lost 3 rounds straight now. Okami looking red hot here on the back end of their defense. Looks like the battleground will be reading in Fireplace. We've seen this objective played once. It was actually the round that really kicked off this momentum boost for Okami. They secured that objective and then won the next 2 of Cocktail and Kitchen. They need to just keep that ball rolling, try and head this momentum into overtime if they want to secure their map pick.
No doubt it's what Okami are gunning for right now, and they'll feel a resurgence of confidence here after that comeback. It's been quite a while since we saw Wildcard win a round. There have been a few close ones, but that kitchen attack certainly wasn't. And their reading Fireplace attack previously, the one that Okami defended, they just sat patiently and waited for Wildcard to decide what they wanted to do, but Wildcard took so long in that decision. Like I was saying, I thought it was kind of like the action phase, instead of being 3 minutes, was a minute and a half, because Wildcard spent so long deciding about whether they wanted to go for that cheeky rush. They decided not to. They only had half the round left to do their actual push, and Okami, in particular in that 3 versus 3 at the end of it, Jack Daddy to sit sight and do well with the Alder. That was pretty pivotal. So now for Okami, looking to hold on once again. A lot of this util upstairs, but we know Wildcard, I expect them to do this top floor take once again. Ippy Star was caught out early in Cigar Shop last time, so perhaps he'll play a bit more passive, not too aggressive on the roam, or maybe he'll just gamble, play for his luck, and see if he can find an early pick.
It isn't unusual to see Wildcard take their time on their attacks, but these last 3 rounds have only exemplified the issues that can arise with that playstyle. Almost every execute has been committed to with 20, 15, 10 seconds left. Often you want at least 30. Give yourself the contingency to fall back if a plant is denied or you lose a man count or lose the man count. Wildcard just haven't been able to commit to that sort of take. It's been do or die for them in the last 3 rounds, just haven't served them well.
So let's see this attack for Wildcard. Diesel the drone up Emerin. Ippy Style in an aggressive position at Pixel. Got the Goyo shield as well to support. There is pressure from the window. It's Diesel. Another drone comes out. Oh, Emo could decide to nade this one. The flash comes out. That tells them that there's no ADS there. In fact, Ippy Style hasn't put either of them in that position. No magnets either. So it's a freebie. The nade might come out to clear that shield, but I don't think Ipmisar will be too fast because he's already backed off the position. Indeed, there it does come out. I think it was Ethan's reaching round, actually. And that should be piano control there for Wildcard. But no pick means that they're running out on time. And 2 rounds in a row so far, Wildcard have run out because of that timer. And that was the reason they lost the round, not because all their players died. So they need to be really careful and continue to make progress through the mid-round.
B is holding a very powerful position at the white stairs, but will fall off that. Geo actually separated from the rest of the team, will push in towards dining from train. Drone goes out towards 90. That'll be a very helpful one late round if they want to go for this dining plant. Instead, though, he will progress forward. Doesn't see anyone on white. There are 2 players there. Trying to gain as much intel as he can for the rest of his players, but there's not a whole lot he can do. He has a second drone, but time is running short.
40 seconds left in the 5-on-5, and Wildcards still don't have cocktail presence. Now, that is slow. But can they explode in the last few seconds? Joker wastes his C4, but that's no biggie. Looks like maybe the rotate's coming out onto Fireplace. Mango spots out the Nomad there in train. Couple bullets wasted Geo's way. Almost no drones left for Wildcard across the board. Emo's been so good on these entries, but Cutie is still upstairs here. Diesel to shut him down. Now we have this vertical control, but it's too little too late for Wildcard. They need to find this. Plant down. Geo finds one as well, and Wildcard exploding to the side. They have numbers advantage. They're going for kills, but there's Joker with the shotgun. Diesel trying to force this down. Ethan has to hold as long as possible, and out of nowhere, Wildcard take the map.
It only took them 4 late round executes to get one through, but it paid dividends. Wildcard 7-5 victors here on Kafe. It was Okami's map pick. Wildcard devastating them in the end, and will now have a 2-0 lead in this best of 5, a single map dev, and they will take it all.
Such a huge game there for Emo so good on his entries. I didn't manage to see who got the opening kill that last round. I think it was Diesel on the top floor into Cutie. But Emo aside from that and one other round, found every single opening pick on the attacking half. And on the defensive, he also found one. And potentially a second. I missed that round as well. So absolutely nut stuff from Emo. Wildcard across the boards. We got a little bit worried for them there in the second half of that second half. But yeah, I guess they did manage to claw it back. Couple good rushes and just stemmed the bleeding there and took out Okami on their map pick.
Yeah, to Okami's credit, it was a better performance than the last time we saw these 2 teams battle it out on Kafe. It was a 7-3 in Wildcard's occasion, but this time it was a 7-5. It wasn't enough though, right? They need to win their map pick to try and nullify that best of the 1 map advantage rather. Now Wildcard, they're only a single map away from securing this dev. They're heading to their own map pick. The pressure is mounting big time on Okami to bring this one back.
And what better place to take us than Villa, where we saw these teams play yesterday. It is Wildcard's map pick. They won it yesterday against Okami. Everything is going for them. Okami the underdogs, and they have to make an upset here to stay in the tournament.
While Wildcard now lead the best of 5 grand final 2-0 on the other side of the break, it will be Villa. We'll see you soon.
Defenders have located the diffuser. Attackers have covered the defuse. Attackers dropped the bomb. There's 15 seconds left. Attackers have recovered their defuse. Attackers dropped the defuse. 10 seconds left. Attackers have located a bomb. Attackers have dropped the bomb defuse. Attackers activating seconds remain. 10 seconds to go. Attackers drop the bomb. 5 seconds remain.
Please hold. Your call is very important to us. All operators are busy at this time.
Oh, baby. Oh, 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 yeah, yeah. The stars fall to us entwining us.
G'day folks and welcome back to the Six Masters 2020 Grand Final. Dev, we're coming off the back of a thrilling game on Kafe. Wildcard have now secured a 2-0 lead in this best of 5 heading into Villa.
Yes, and wow, I mean, it was made us sweat there for a minute, didn't it, there with Okami on the comeback. They managed to find a few rounds in a row on their defensive side, but overall, it did look like the Wildcard show some really dominant performances, particularly with that rush attack onto the kitchen bomb side. That was beautiful to see, and we'll be talking about that for a long time to come.
It was definitely a valiant effort from Okami, who managed to mount a mini comeback, but in the end, it wasn't quite enough. They've lost their own map pick now, Dev. We're heading into Villa. That's Wildcard's pick. We know they're dominant on that map. They showed that yesterday against Okami, so the odds are well and truly against Okami to bring this one back.
Yes, very much so. I mean, looking at the results from yesterday, Okami didn't have the worst map, and it was a bit better than the other map that they played on Clubhouse, but Villa was definitely Wildcards. There were a couple things we saw come from Okami that made me think, look, they've got to step it up here, but of course it is Wildcard who picked it. They already have that proven result against Okami, and they're confident going into this one, so we're looking at Okami to upset.
Let's have a quick recap of that poll vote. We know Wildcard has a lot of support out there. It was 76% in their favor, suggesting maybe something along the lines of a 3-1 result, but Dev, we could well see a 3-0 sweep here from Wildcard.
Yeah, 2-0 technically, I guess, because they've already got that map advantage. But in some ways, it's almost like a 4-0 because Wildcard already won on 2 maps just yesterday. Now, this is almost like one giant series played over 2 days. And honestly, like at the moment, it doesn't look like Okami's got their head into it. And that's funny because if you look back over the last 6 Masters 2019 at MEO, Okami almost took down Wildcard, but Wildcard seemed to have their number 1 year later.
Well, it's time to load in to the second map in this best of 5 grand final. Wildcard are looking to close this one out. They are looking to be the 6 Masters champions, and they can secure it here on Villa. Dev, let's go through the bans.
Indeed. Now, a couple teams have tried different things against Okami. Just earlier today, we saw Knights try and hamstring Style with the Jaeger ban, and we've seen Clash bans as well against Okami in the past to try and hamstring Mangoes, who's really good there. We also saw the Dokkaebi ban to counter, I believe it was Jack Dad usually plays the Dokkaebi, but it didn't work out so well for Knights, even though they had a few strong rounds here on Villa. But for Wildcard, look, they've sat back and they've just watched the Okami game from this afternoon. I keep saying this morning, but that's because I live on...
For you. This morning for you, maybe.
This morning for me. This afternoon.
Mr. Worldwide. Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, shush. But indeed, we do see that Clash ban eventually come out there from Wildcard. It's exactly what they did yesterday. In fact, over the board, it's just the same bans from Wildcard. Thatcher, as they love to ban almost all the time. And the Clash to get rid of Mangoes, who is really good on that operator on this map. And then the Nomad ban from Okami, something that both the teams were really good at, and will maybe enable Okami to play into a bit more of an aggressive playstyle, which I think could work against Wildcard, especially if Wildcard just are a bit more scared of those flanks, because we know that they are a team that can stall out and lose on time, as they lost 2 rounds on time in the previous map. So we'll see how that works out. And of course, the Pulse ban to round things out. Pulse, I think, is probably a smart ban against Wildcard. You and I talked extensively about Wildcard's use of Pulse on Villa yesterday, and I think it's a great move from Okami to get rid of that information gathering, and we'll likely see Wildcard lean on to other operators like the Valkyrie a bit more.
Echo is in quarantine at the moment due to his state, which has again opened up these bans a little bit, and I agree that Pulse ban is great. We saw Pat on Wildcard be so proficient in gaining intel. The rest of his team was feeding off that really well. So taking that Pulse with the cardiac sensor off the board should allow Okami to feel a little bit more confident on their entries when they switch halves on to the attack. But they are starting on the defense. AVG will be the first site. And we're going to see a lot of utility brought to the board, Dev, that Wildcard will need to try and clear.
Yeah, in particular, we've got those 2 deployable shields from Jack Daddy on the Wamai, from Cutie. Ooh, there's a nice little Electric Claw. Trying to protect that main wall. With no Thatcher, it'll be very, very difficult. I really like this. So that's only, of course, going to get one of the walls. But here, Wildcard, without the Thatcher, they're not bringing the Kali. Not that the Kali would destroy that Claw anyway. But their primary way to get rid of Electric Claws and try and take onto the bomb site, open up those walls, would be vertically. So they would have Ethan, who's 6-picked onto the block from the Ash. He would go below. He can not only flush out the anchors, but also take down that utility. But not if the Claw is placed in that position, he can't.
Could always be taken out with additional utility. You do have Geo. I can use lifeline charges, Emo Rin with the grenades, but again, there's so much other utility that will need to be flushed out on site. It's definitely a balancing act for the attackers in the current meta, trying to clear this utility. As he mentioned, Ethan is now below. Nemo Rin as well. Question is, are they going to try and clear that Electro Claw? And if so, how are they going to go about doing that? Joker, meanwhile, he's probing at red stairs. He's in a great position to catch a player off guard here and try and get the opening pick for Okami.
I'm so wary of Joker here. And Wildcard needs to be too. He stepped up huge yesterday in their game on this map, especially playing that red stairs position. But for now, Wildcard with this downstairs presence may be able to take out Itby style if he gets over aggressive here. And what is that? He never saw him, but it doesn't matter. Imarin to take off his head, and that is the opening frag for Wildcard. Imarin has been unstoppable today. Ate his wheat bix this morning, woke up nicely, but there is Okami to get that refrag back through the floor.
Ooh. I think Pat got lit up there by his teammate. Either way, though, he does survive. Jack Daddy as well on site will live to see another day or another round on a slither of HP. Minute 10 on the board. Diesel diffuser in hand as he will start to blow the wall in towards bar. So it appears as if Wildcard are preparing to plant behind that bar. It's up to Okami to try and deny it.
With 1 minute left, and Wildcard have established that man advantage once again, but of course, you mentioned Pat getting lit up by his teammate. Means he'll likely lose any gunfight. Now Mango's still with C4 in pocket, Joker as well. And still, Okami maintaining this control of landing. Pat repelling on the window will prevent Joker getting aggressive here. But my question is, what's the execute from Wildcard going to be? They have this angle into bar, but it's not really a proper rotation hole. Diesel still has the 2x Kairos left, and he's going to put that on the adjacent wall on bar as well. In 20 seconds, we need to see Wildcard get their heads in the game and start to execute here. Sledge still below, and Wildcard running so late, but this could be the nade to find the kill. He gets the injury onto Mangoes, just Joker and Cutie left, but Wildcard won't know it yet. Joker still trying to get aggressive here through Aviator. Can the plank go down? The gas is up for Cutie, and he finds one. Imorin still has been going so well so far, but he's taken out. Cutie gets 2. Can he deny this plant? Indeed, Cutie with a huge clutch there. And the defuse. What a way to open up the map for Okami.
What a 4K from Cutie to kick things off here on Villa. What an explosive start to this map. Cutie, you are absolutely cracked, my dude. That was insane. And Okami will get the early lead.
Cutie's cracked. It's true. He's not.
It's fact.
Unbelievable stuff here. Great nade here from Emo Rin. I know we've really been singing Emo's praises, but he has been so good today. For Cutie to step up, though, in this scenario, what was that? Effectively a 1-on-4. 2 kills with the SMG-11, and then 2 with the shotgun.
Activating the bomb diffuser.
That is a tilter for Wildcard, you gotta say. I mean, they had the numbers advantage. They had the execute, pulled the rabbit out of the hat there, and it's not even the utility that really secures it for Cutie.
A frustrating start for Wildcard.
Attackers need to locate.
I'm sure they will find comfort in the fact, though, that they are in a 2-map lead position. That one round will surely not hamper their confidence too much. As you said, it will be frustrating nonetheless. They knew where that player was, just unable to shut down Cutie. Probably just executed one of the best clutches we have seen in 6 Masters thus far. We've seen a lot of clutches in this tournament, but that really stands out as one that not only in its own right was amazing, but in the context of this match will help give Okami some much needed confidence off the back of that Kafe loss. They lost their own map pick. They can't afford to lose another.
Attackers must
Looks like they have no intention to lay down and die here on Villa. We talked about how Villa was a map that slid Wildcard's way yesterday in this matchup in the upper bracket final. Really good stuff from them displayed on that game, but also some great rounds from Okami, who almost took it to overtime. It was a 7-5 by the end of it, but now Okami starts strong here, and you mentioned the momentum. They'll need to keep that up. Once again, we see... Oh, do it. Oh, he should have jumped out there. Keep that aggression up, Mangoes. He tries to go for it, but doesn't want to overextend. Maybe a good idea. Emarin's been on point today with this SMG-11. I love that he's got the Pro League charm on it. That's from the Tokonami Season 10 Pro League Finals, which is the only global Pro League Finals that Wildcard managed to qualify for, and they're within 1 round of defeating Na'Vi. So a lot of pride there from Emarin displaying that charm on all his weapons.
Bit of a collector's item now. Pro League in its original form no longer existing with the revamp of the global format. And of course, this event plays into that. Both these teams have qualified for the Oceanic Mini Major. Great opportunity to earn some extra cash and some points towards that Styx Invitational. But all the focus of these teams is now here on this second map of Villa. Okami cannot afford to drop this map, or they will lose the grand final in 3-0 fashion. They fought hard in round number 1, and I'm expecting something similar here in the second.
There you go. Jack to find Cutie. Where on earth was that? Sorry, Pat found Pat. Pat is a bit of a cutie, they're not going to lie. Jack found a second one. Emo goes down. Now that's the player that we've been watching out for, and I love this adaptation from Okami as well. With that shield placed by Joker, I believe it was actually moved mid-round into that position that Wildcard always opens with the X-Kairos. And now not only does that enable Joker to contest Master more strongly, but it also enables Jack to play this position to prevent the push-in through Bathroom into Astro, and that's so important. He's already found 2 kills off of it.
Okami playing so confident at the moment. Ethan flashed out. He has Diesel to assist, but surely this round is not winnable. Everyone white over towards Astro. Time running low. Okami with the clear man advantage, and they will close out the round. Okami winning 2 rounds straight, and Dev, they are looking like a completely different team here on Villa.
I know that Jack Daddy said that on Friday they spent a lot of time watching Wildcard in the Knights game. Now, it might not have made the difference in the upper bracket final, but the grand final is where everything comes to a head, and here Okami clearly have started strong. And I think one of the things that really was a struggle for Okami in their match yesterday against Wildcard was the lack of ability to adapt, especially on Clubhouse. Now, of course, Clubhouse is later on the agenda today, but here on Villa, we would have thought that Wildcard would be able to take it in such a strong fashion, as strong as they did yesterday. But Okami have fixed a lot of the problems. They've made some adaptations. That deployable shield in stat is so good. And it protected not only Joker playing in stat and preventing that pushing from Master, but also the player in Trophy as well, which was Jack Dad, who found 3 kills from that position. It was a 3K for Jack and 2K there for Joker. And it shows that wouldn't have been possible without that deployable shield in that position. Great stuff overall from Okami. Now, can they keep this momentum up here on their defense? They get a full round the world of 3 bomb sites.
It's time now for someone from Wildcard to step up. Ethan often being that key player, currently going 0-2. Not been the greatest start for him, but that can't be an excuse. Ippy style, the top fragger for Okami, also with 0 frags on the board. We're seeing different players step up here in this grand final. Both teams showing their depth in their rosters. It's up to Wildcard to continue to keep fighting hard here. And yes, Villa is arguably a defender-sided map, but that's often not the case in ANZ. We've seen a lot of these games actually in favor of the attackers. Okami, namely one of those teams. So the bigger this lead gets on this Okami defense, the harder it's going to be for Wildcard to bring it back.
What I will say, though, is Okami yesterday on this map, on their defensive half, managed to steal away the first 2 defenses, Stat Trophy and Aviator Games. Now, that's exactly what they've done here. But then Wildcard took 2 rounds in a row to reply and ended up getting 3 attack rounds on the half. Now, if the pattern continues, Okami really need to step it up here. And this dining defense is going to be super telling.
Just under 2 minutes left now. The first minute being used by Wildcard to gain some horizontal control. Living being one of those rooms. Joker could not find himself in the first engagement. He's holding that bike door. Wildcard not yet pushing that. Instead, opting to drone it out. We know they so often like to take their time, and it was almost their detriment on Kafe. The last map, they lost multiple rounds due to a lack of time. They don't want to replicate that here on Villa.
Now remember here that with the pulse banned out, it's something that Jack Daddy usually would play on this bomb site inside of dining. He won't be able to call out where these players are, where these positions are. Now that Mozzie drone, the hacked one, does get taken out there. Can he take out the second drone? Really great coordination there from whoever was droning there and Emo Rin, so they jumped in at the same time. And it was difficult for Jack Daddy to peek onto Emo. At a bit more of a quiet game now, but with 1 minute to go, it looks like Wildcard is starting to form up their push. Jack Daddy's feeling the heat here on the bomb site.
It's critical that he finds a pick. The C4 flies out. Will it find its mark? It does. Emo Rin, who's been red hot so far tonight, is taken off the board. That's Jack Dad's 5th kill here on Villa. A great performance from him so far. He struggled a little bit yesterday, but going strong so far. Ippy Style finds one as well. Jack Daddy can just spray them down. He finds another. Mangoes will retrade it out. And there we go. It's a flawless round for Okami. And this has been a fantastic start to their Villa campaign.
Already doing so much better than Okami did yesterday in the upper bracket final. And a flawless round when I was doubting them and saying, look, don't get too ahead of yourselves. You've only won 2 defenses in a row. That's exactly what happened yesterday. And that didn't spell the map win, didn't even spell a victory over in the half, only splitting at 3-3. But here, for Okami to come out of the gate with a flawless half. Now, I know people were highly critical of Jack Daddy yesterday. I think he went, what, 1-11 on map 1 on Villa? But here, he's one of the key fraggers for his team, holding down the fort on site. Really stepping it up and thinning out the numbers from Wildcard. Really good stuff here for Okami, and it's positioning them so well moving into the rest of this map.
Defenders, protect your bombs from
With the first 3 sites won, we are going to see Okami rotate back down to their first pick. Aviator and Games on the second floor. Pretty similar lineup again. A lot of utility that will need to be cleared by Wildcard. It was a close round on the first occasion. It was Cutie that stepped up massively with that clutch. Wildcard unable to shut him down despite doing everything right up until that point. Not expecting Cutie necessarily to replicate that again here in this round. If Wildcard can pull off a similar execute, they might be able to find their first attacking win.
I think that's a great point, guys. Like, if we look at this Aviator Games Room defense from the last time Okami won it, yeah, it was Cutie going nuts, right? So in theory, that was the closest round Wildcard has actually played so far. And that means that this round is the most likely that they're going to start things off and finally scrape away with an attack. Good utility from Okami, though, played to slow down this roam clear. Notably, you'll notice not only is there a Mozzie pest on these doorways, but also the wall is barricaded. And I really like that choice there. It means that you can't jump over the pest. You'll see as he gets close. I don't know whether there was a pest on that specific window. Maybe Pat took it out. But it makes it really difficult. The barricades paired well with the pests from Mozzie. Really nice way to deny information and slow down the attack. You've got to shoot down the barricade if you want to jump over the pest. We've got to clear the pest if you want to get your drone under the barricade.
Joker rotates back to side. He finds himself on a slither of HP. Not sure how he lost his health. He is still alive, but needs to be mindful late round. He also has a C4, which will be critical in plant denial. It's important that he does stay up until the latter stages of this round as Wildcard again establish control to the north. Pat holding the rotate. We see Cutie again on site. Again, he was the one that helped win this round earlier. A nice position over the wall. He could C4 over this to the 90 window. Geo needs to be mindful.
I've never seen a C4 quite like that, but if Joker can pull it off, that'd help out a lot. Geo's going to drone it up, see what the threat's like. Ethan this time around didn't 6-pick off the Ash onto Buck as he did previously, and that lends Wildcard a little bit more explosive utility to clear out these shields that Okami have brought to the table, but it also means Ethan doesn't have quite so much soft destruction to open up the ceiling and take out these players on site as he did last time. Now, last time, Ethan was taken out trying to do just this, but he's done a good job to clear off the utility. That's the Electric Claw off of the bar wall, off of the vault wall, and that enables it to be opened up by Diesel here. 1 minute to go. Good headway made by Wildcard.
Mango's in a very compromised position inside of the vault. His rotate cut off by that ex-Kairos breach. He's trying to get Ethan, who is still probing below Diesel. Meanwhile, he has the diffuser in hand. He's the player to watch in the late round here. He's going to have to try and get that plant down. Mango's, oh no, he un-ADSs at the wrong time, and Pat finds the opening. That's the sign now for Wildcard to start pushing through, but Cutie with the smoke grenades will delay that first instance. I'm expecting once this first gas grenade dissipates, they'll try and push, but there we go. The magnets now will collect those ADS devices. Diesel unable to get that utility out. Another smoke will come through, but Diesel can actually get through that. He's going to go for the default plant dev, and he should be able to stick this.
The C4 to come out from Joku, and it doesn't land! Diesel somehow survives with such low HP, and now he's done his job. That diffuser is planted. 3-on-3 now, and Cutie starts his trek back up. Oh, Ippy Star sees the foot through the floor. He knows exactly where to pre-fire, and he'll take down Emo. In a 3 versus 2, Cutie's going to stick this diffuser. The 2 players just to cover. Geo has to peek this. There are 2 people watching him, but he gets Cutie off the kit. This could be doable here for Pat. Now a 1 versus 1. Jack Daddy got to step it up. 18 seconds to play with. But Pat, G8 in hand, he's so good here. And just waiting patiently. But he gets taken down. What's he doing? It's all on Jack. Penny started. He does have time. He just has enough time to secure the counter defuse. And Okami continue their flawless half on defense.
Wowee, what an explosive end to that round. We saw Diesel rush in, Joker failing to hit the C4. The retake was then on for Okami, who in the dying seconds were able to get it off. Only half a second later, and Jack Daddy would not have had time to counter defuse the bomb. What a great play from him. Such an incredibly close round. But Okami now have secured 4 straight, Dev. This has been a great map for them so far.
I want to know what was happening there for Pat in the last few moments there. All he had to do was stand there and hold and wait and win that 1v1 as Jack tried to push him, but there must have been some kind of miscomm, some kind of confusion. And that's the kind of thing, when you lose a round that should rightfully have been yours every way, to something as minute as that, that's the kind of thing that tilts you. And Wildcard now 4 rounds down on their map pick, and to lose a round like that does not bode well for them.
We alluded to it earlier in the broadcast that the pressure was on Okami, but seems like it's starting to shift back onto Wildcard, who were probably expecting to close this map out. They defeated Okami on Villa yesterday in strong fashion, but so far Okami playing incredibly well here on the defense, and we're expecting them to be equally, if not even stronger on their attacks. So it's an uncomfortable position that Wildcard currently find themselves in.
Can they claw it back here? This would be such a good way for Okami to get into the series, not only the map, but if they can start strong here on their defense, of course, it'll be challenging once they switch over to the attack, but to finish it with a 4-2 half on their defense, that's not too bad. But to finish it at a 5-1 half or a 6-0, really that just puts a brick wall in front of Wildcard's momentum that they had gained on the first map. Imarin to get injured out of the gate as well. I don't know whether that was just a peek from Mangoes with the shotty, but something worked out well. And once again, Wildcard on the back foot.
Gio will pick up his teammate. Imarin now stuck on a shot's worth of HP for the remainder of this round. Drone's going out. Ethan on the Ying. We haven't seen a whole lot of Ying post-nerf here in Six Masters. Never mind from Ethan, who, unfortunately for him, is currently going 0-4. Been an incredibly quiet map for the top fragger in the season so far. Overall, he's been so confident, so strong in winning his ones. Unfortunately for him, this Villa map has been quite the opposite, as Wildcard will now begin to open this triple wall. There is a player behind that shield that they will need to clear. Imarin finds himself inside of bathroom, so some decent control here for Wildcard as they try and progress in towards the site.
But still, that shield needs to be dealt with. I think that nade would have gotten it. Looking to push on through now is Wildcard, but last time Okami defended this, Jack Daddy came up huge from Trophy, and that's why Ethan's picked this Ying this time around. Is that going to flush out those players? The Candela goes out. The second one's caught by a magnet, and that's going to blind any teammates for Ethan. The first one does find that kill. Smoke grenade to go out as well. Emo lit up, starts to file into side. Lots of time still left, and Pat's pinching from the other side. He finds one as well. This is so good so far for Wildcard, but Jack starts to fight back. He finds one. All the Wildcard players are so low on HP, but so is Jack Dad. They get the plant down. Emo Rin, another one with the SMG-11. All on Cutie now to clutch against 4 players. And this just doesn't look possible for him.
He progresses from landing towards stat. He needs to find 4. So little time to work with here. And there we go. Wildcard will finally secure an attack here on Villa, but it could be too little too late.
So that is one way to start things off, and I got to say I really like the adaptation there from Wildcard. They knew that that position in Trophy, holding the bathroom door into Astro, was just so good. And Jack Daddy previously found a 3K from that position, Joker at 2K. So for Wildcard to switch onto that Ying instead of the Ash and the Capitao that they tried previously, that was just really effective, and I got to say that was absolutely the instrumental ingredient to enable Wildcard to get that round. And of course, that also does put a slight fork in the road, I guess, for Okami here. 2 ways this can go. Either Wildcard claw back on their attacks here and get a 4-2 half, 2-4 half rather, or they only manage to scrape away that single attack. And that'll position, well, either way will position Okami pretty well in this half. But I got to say, if Wildcard only managed to get 1 round here on the attack, it's going to be very difficult for them after they switch to defense.
Okami have been in control of this map so far. A stark contrast to yesterday when these teams battled it out on Villa. It's quite the opposite with Wildcard really dictating the pace of the game and bullying Okami around the map. On this occasion, though, Wildcard have been stalled out time and time again. Okami, a couple of big plays from some of their star players, keeping the dream alive here for the Six Masters Grand Final. They're yet to win a map at all in this best of 5. They can't afford to drop another here, or it will be their run done.
Attackers recovered the diffuser. Bomb located by attackers.
Kami have showed us some good things here. Let's see what they have to say about this one. Cutie finally bringing out that Valkyrie. Did the same on the other kitchen dining defense, and, well, it's pretty effective. In particular, I got to say, Jack Dad has been an instrumental player in a lot of these defenses for Okami, especially in these anchor positions, just not letting Wildcard through. And Wildcard, once again, going to bring that Capitao as they did on the previous kitchen dining attack, instead of that Ying, which helped to flush those anchors last time around. Now, my big question here for Wildcard is how are they going to deal with this players on site? I know at the moment they're just dealing with the roam, but the roam wasn't really the be-all and end-all of the last time around. It really came down to Jack Daddy holding fast in dining. Perhaps Wildcard this time around are going to focus more on this roam clear so that they have that vertical capability and can flush out the anchors like Jack Dad through the floor instead.
Wildcard are trying to pinch out Ippy style, holding Astro. He has been droned out in that window. Drone down. He rotates now over towards the Astro desk. No one from Wildcard covering that position. Ippy style uses that to actually just rotate straight out. He's actually going to try and retake the stairs. This is an incredibly risky play, but could play off. There's at least one inside of bathroom that he could try and find. I don't think there's a drone currently on his stairs position, but there is one on the window. Devi needs to be careful not to get too overzealous playing this angle.
This is patience demonstrated by Ippy. Do Wildcard know? He starts to aggress up as he hears that sledgehammer go out. That drone might have seen him. Now it... No, surely not. Pat's punished with the electronics detector out. Now Emo looking to peek this one. Ippy style does some damage to both Geo and Emo and then backs on off. Really good attempt there from Wildcard to get that refrag, but they don't punish the player on the other side. Now top floor control, but numbers disadvantage, health disadvantage. Ethan needs to come up huge on our flank up through pantry.
Some great disciplined play there from Ippy style. Sometimes it can get a little bit overzealous, but on that occasion, playing Wildcard like a fiddle. And Ethan, he's had a shocking map so far, and Joker will shut him down. Okami now with a clear man advantage, 20 seconds on the board. Diesel, as always, will have that diffuser in hand, but trying to get through pantry is going to be incredibly challenging. Jack Daddy, that's a defensive drone that they can use to gain more intel. Cutie finds one. It's now Diesel to jump through the window in a desperate attempt to get this plant down, but Okami will shut it down. It's a 5-1 half in their favor, Dev. What a performance so far.
This is nuts to come through from Okami after going 3-3 at the half yesterday on their Villa defenses against Wildcard to pull up huge like this. And despite that pulse ban, like that pulse ban clearly hasn't affected Okami at all, which is crazy to think after Jack Daddy used that consistently yesterday. And now here against Wildcard, same map, same scenario, slightly different bans. That Nomad, perhaps the lack of that from Wildcard made them a bit more concerned about those flanks. We did see Ippy style manage to pull off the flank and start things off there for Okami in that previous round, but now they're going to have to deal with the lack of Nomad, something they used to bring consistently on Joker. But of course, Wildcard also have to deal without that pulse that they are so good with. Now this is really the telling moment for Okami. Can they have even half as much success on the attack as they did on their defense? Because even 2 rounds here gets them the map.
The next few rounds critical here for either team. Having a look ahead, if Okami manage to convert Villa into a dub, we will head to Theme Park, Okami's map pick. Theoretically, Okami might be able to even just draw out the series, which would be absolutely nuts considering the position that they were in at the conclusion of Kafe. They've mounted such a great comeback here so far on Villa, but they are in the attack now. Some would say the unfavored side. I have confidence in Okami's ability. We have seen them strong on the attack, not only in Six Masters, but in previous leagues, such as Pro League. It's now time for them to step up when it matters most.
If we do end up going to Theme Park as our next map, that is, as you mentioned, Okami's map pick, but also one that Okami has just won dominantly 7-1 against Knights earlier today. Now, it is a good map for Wildcard, but we don't quite know how good, and they've never picked it. So they don't have so much confidence that they pick it over their opponents. Now, here for Okami, if they can win this map, it will mean everything. They need to win this map to stay in the tournament, to have a shot at that championship. But it's been a long time since Okami have been able to steal away even a map from Wildcard. We're talking about all the way back in Pro League Season 11 months ago, and Wildcard looked like a completely different team now compared to then. We'd kind of written Okami off after map 1 and said that Wildcard looked too good to dominate, but as you said, this is all going to depend on Okami's attacks here. They only need 2 rounds to call this map theirs.
Wildcard are defending, Aviator in games. Okami opting for a horizontal take from the north. This classical hall that Ethan's playing, such a key position. Current meta is to place the shield there and cover that with ADS devices and Wamai magnets, both of which can be seen or heard from Ethan's position. So clearing this will be very challenging. It's going to be difficult for Okami to get control of 90. Such a key point of contention on this map. It's going to be rough.
Now, what's the play for Okami? 2 minutes down. They have this control of the north side. Still need to get rid of this shield down classical hallway. Can Pat find an angle? Starts to peek on out, but Mangoes to find the opening pick here. As Geo gone down, no more magnets. And there you go, Joker to add to it. This is so tough here now for Wildcard. Okami looking on point here. Ethan to fight back, trying to retake the hallway, but that C4 is not going to find anything, and that's one less C4 to deny the plants. Emo trying to retake Study now, and 40 seconds left for Okami. Wildcard want to play on the offensive.
I was talking about how difficult it would be to clear those shields, but Okami achieved that with ease and have now positioned themselves really nicely for a plant. Oh, but Ethan will actually get it be style from 90. It is a 3-on-3. Jack Daddy will recover it. Likely to set up for a default plant at the vault door, but Ethan gets lit up under the billiards table. It's Diesel and Emo now left to recover. Diesel needs to try and deny it. He's in the best position, but he only has 1 smoke to work with. He will use it. That will force a reposition. Jack Daddy, though, I think he's going to try and persist. Can he stick the plant? Oh, no! It gets denied in the dying seconds. It's a 1-on-1. Mango's forced to rush in. Emorin's prying it bar. Surely he can win the pre-fire, but he doesn't. Emorin somehow getting on top, and Wildcard will narrowly win that round.
A huge clutch there from Emo and Diesel. And it looks like maybe Okami would put themselves on match point. It started off so good. A 3 versus 5 with a minute to go. But to see Diesel clutch that out with his final gas. It was a valiant effort from Jack Daddy to try and stick that defuse. But it didn't go through. Such a pivotal moment there for Diesel to deny that plant. And another pivotal moment when Mangoes tried to find this final kill. Emo had to win that fight, and he did. Now, Wildcards start their defensive campaign, start to trek this back on through.
Wow, that's really made things exciting. That round was incredibly close. Could have gone either way in that 1-on-1. Wildcard shining through there. Able to take that first round of the half, starting to slowly mount this comeback. But it's a long road, and it's going to be a difficult one. 3 more rounds are required to even out the half. It only takes Okami 1 to head to match point, and in doing so will secure at least overtime. Again, that will extend the length of this map and potentially diminish the confidence here of Wildcard, who are playing on their map pick.
10 seconds left before insertion.
So now Wildcard, they've got to be so good on these defenses to match that 5-1 score that Okami did. In fact, Wildcard need to do that 5-1 scoreline on their defense, or better, a 6-0 flawless, in order to keep themselves alive in this map. A 5-1 will just give them overtime, and maybe that's where they can close it out, but things have looked so good for the attack so far, for the defense rather, when Okami was over there, and Wildcard, they only barely scraped that round. Makes you very concerned for them, and it really suggests that Okami have a serious chance here now on this attack. Looking to clear the top floor downwards. Wildcard, not a lot of presence up top for now. Mostly roaming downstairs. Emorin the only player dedicating to this top floor, and he has the ability to drop down that hatch in Astro when pressured too much, and he might need to do that soon because Okami is starting to pinch. Another drone down. In fact, that's the first drone that Okami has lost. You compare that to Kafe, where so many drones were lost early for Okami. The information gathering has been so much better on Okami's attack here.
We do see upstairs presence from Wildcard on defense, and Okami may well try to disrupt that. We did see Ippy Style repelled on the window. Not sure if there's much presence elsewhere from the attack. We do see Jack Daddy at landing, Joker at 90. So they're trying to pinch these players that are playing above. It looks though like Wildcard may have just defaulted below though. A lot of time wasted. Minute 30 left in the round, and it's time now for Okami with the likes of Cutie to get to work, but that's not great. Ethan shuts him down and will floor bang to secure the kill. That's exactly what Okami didn't need heading into this execute.
Good info though there from Ippy Style to spot out the player bottom Astro. He might try and chase this kill. But of course it is dangerous to do so. Flashbang goes out. Emo Rin under the pump, but he's got Ethan there to support him, and he gets back to site. Looks like Okami are rotating back for a laundry-centric push with this pressure from above. Ippy Style and Jack Daddy to flank late round, but that's Mangoes to find one from the laundry side. That's so essential there. 4 versus 4 now. Wildcard don't have as much information as they would like on account of that pulse ban, but they're still just holding fast here and trying to deny this plant.
Emo Rin, prone holding that laundry push out. That's a critical point of this attack. If Emo Rin can shut this down, Wildcard will be perfectly positioned to convert this round and try to reduce the lead that Okami have created. And there we go, the shots rain out. Ethan gets Ippy Style. Mangoes, though, he has critically found himself inside of dying, but his support has been shut down, and now he's left all alone inside. It's a 1-on-4. He's prone on the ground. 40 HP, not a whole lot he can do. He has a single flash, but look, he's given up. Not a whole lot he can do. Trying to maybe find an exit frag dev, but Wildcard, they will take 2 rounds straight here on the defense, and Okami really need to get going.
It ain't happening there for Okami, and they didn't start super strong there. Really good roam there from Wildcard, despite Okami going for that pretty dedicated, hard top-down take and being pretty efficient with their drones. They spotted out Emo Rin, who was the sole roamer upstairs. He backed on out, but the first kill actually came out through the floor, we noted, from Living. Ethan roaming downstairs. And he got a kill through the floor, little hole that was opened underneath the heads window, which is that little connector room between the top red stairs and the trophy room. Now, as Cutie jumped on in, Ethan was watching that angle. So despite Wildcard not really roaming upstairs, they're still roaming horizontally, preventing Wildcard from getting that control downstairs, especially with those goo mines that Ethan ran last round. But also on top of that, their roamers downstairs can have an effect upstairs through vertical holes.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
The gap is starting to close now between these two teams. Incredibly close spread between them both as well. No one is going absolutely massive here. Jack Daddy, arguably the only player in double digit, has been playing quite strong. It's been a really well-rounded effort by both teams. We head now over towards stat. We haven't seen this objective attempted yet by Wildcard, so this could be a great opportunity for Okami to get their first attacking win.
And it looks like we're not actually going to see a heavy stat hold, or heavy closet hold rather, for this stat bomb site, which is what's typical from both of these teams. Wildcard changing their strategy to something a little bit more, I guess you could say, default. But they do have that vertical roam downstairs to prevent Okami from clearing that out and maintaining that vertical pressure. Flush out roamers and get rid of, in particular, the Electroclaws from Pat. Look at this. Lots of util downstairs. Emo with the goo mines. Ethan with the mute jammers. Diesel also can support from bottom Astro. I like this heavy investment of util from Wildcard downstairs. Good drone denial as well with the mutes. Make it very difficult for Okami to take that control, and as I said, use that vertical potential to clear out the util on the stat wall.
Mangoes will try to open up the triple wall, but it has been electrified by those electro claws. Pat doing a great job in denying that utility, and it's up to Okami to try and clear that if they do want the wall open, often we will see angles generated to cut down the rotate from Astro and put pressure in towards Trophy. But that could be a tall order as
Bomb located by attackers.
Okami are really, really struggling now, getting stalled out inside of bedroom. But if his style gets aggressive inside of Astro, this could be big. Does Pat know he's coming?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, it gets shut down. Great play from Gio, really keeps his team in this round, but he gets traded out. That's Mango getting aggressive now. Can he find the second onto Pat? No, he will be shut down. Great work by Wildcard so far, and Pat finds another. Really popping off at the moment. That diffuser has been dropped.
4v2 now for Wildcard, trying to hold on to this one. And looking at Okami, once again, a player trying to sneak through Astro. So you'll see, once again, Okami believes this to be the weak point, but Wildcard opened things up. They've refragged every kill so far that Okami has got, which is only the one. Jack drones up. Pat tanks that out. Jack Daddy, good weapon in the G8 here, but he's exposed to so many angles. If he walks on through here, and Wildcard saw where this position, couple of pre-fires from Diesel. Got to be careful of below. Sees Emo downstairs, but loses his life. And now Cutie, the last man standing. You may as well call that a flawless round for Wildcard. 4 players up at the end of it. And they have come back into form here on their defense.
A great start for Wildcard. They win their first 3 defenses, so it's likely they will rotate back now to Aviator Games. Okami almost forfeiting that lead now. Wildcard trailing by a single round. The pressure was on Wildcard for a little bit there, but they hold strong. Okami failing to penetrate these defenses. The trades from Wildcard have been top-notch. We've seen them do it time and time again throughout the regular season, and they're replicating that once again here in the finals as they try and close out this map. If they do so, it'll be a flawless bracket for them here in the finals without dropping a single map, which would be quite the effort.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Wildcard have looked so good, and it's a serious challenge to come back from a 5-1 first half, but they're doubling down here, putting their cards on the table and saying, hey, we can do that. Look at them so far. 3 straight defensive rounds. They've been around the world just as Okami did. Won every single bomb site they need to defend. What I will say for both of these teams is we're seeing a bit of variation in strategy from both of them. If you look at Okami's attacks here, previously on Villa, and this isn't just in the Wildcard game, but in a lot of Okami's games on Villa, they run this setup without the, they don't run the, they run the Dokubi and the Jackal. I'm not actually sure exactly, I was trying to think which operators they replaced for. I'm not exactly sure at this time. But instead, they're running a bit more of a soft breach centric hold, no smokes. And previously, Okami had leveraged those smokes for a lot of these executes, but I think they realized that maybe that didn't work so well against Wildcard, because on their attacks yesterday, they only managed to steal away 2 of them. But now instead, bringing the Zafir and the IQ to the table hasn't had so much success so far.
EP style on Zofia, diffuser in hand. I love the new spectator system. It, of course, always shows now who has the diffuser. Very helpful in helping identify exactly how these attackers will push.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Early round aggression here from Okami, or some early round map clearing at least. Gives them control of this northern side. Wildcard again setting up to hold Classical. We saw those shields taken down pretty easily last time by Okami. Wildcard investing that utility once again to try and slow down that push.
How much util does Okami have to clear it out? I think there are 2 shields actually in the hallway. Indeed, there are. You can take out the first one. In fact, no, you can't even take out the first one. That's maybe a misplaced magnet. Yeah, that Goyo shield did get destroyed. But Pat finds the first kill, and that's Cutie. But of course, remember, Wildcard, they only barely won this defense the last time around in a 1v1 clutch. Okami have made decent progress now, destroying 1 shield. They need to destroy the second one. Joker, does he have any util left to get rid of it? Ippy has 1 explosive, but he wants to use this on site. Joker, no more stun grenades, but just the 1 breaching round. And with those magnets around to protecting this shield, Joker will need to call for his teammate to flush that out before he can clear the shield here. And if he can't clear the shield, it's going to be impossible for him to pressure from this hallway side.
Minute on the board, Joker holding a very dangerous angle, but Geo equally disciplined, deciding not to peek over it and take that risk. Instead, just use the little slits there to gain valuable information. Joker instead will rotate now over towards Stat, pick up that diffuser. It'd be style, peeking with that ACOG. He really needs to find this opening pick, but he can't see anyone. Joker, oh, he's going to push in. He's going to go for the default plant. Where's Diesel? He's going to use those smokes. Surely the sound cue goes out, but he doesn't even need to. Ethan from below will get the C4 kill, and now Diesel for the remainder of this round can smoke out that diffuser. He will have 3 in the pocket. He's used 1, 2 more left. Pistol is actually inside of sight, so he could be on for a play, but another smoke will be expended. Surely Jack Daddy won't stick it this time, but oh, it's actually missed. Jack Daddy will surely be able to get this play down. The second smoke hits the mark. Emo Room with a C4 will deny. It's a 5-on-2, 5-on-1 now. Pistol forced to fall back towards landing. 5 seconds on the board. There's nothing he can do, and Wildcard with a flawless round will even out the score, 5 apiece.
I mentioned that Wildcard, their worst defense so far was the first time they defended Aviator Games, and Okami got within a 1v1 of winning that round. Now, that was quite some time ago now. That was the first round of the half, and Wildcard have said, look, we're not going to let Okami even get a look in here. A flawless rounds to tie Wildcard up. We were at 5-1 in favor of Okami. Wildcard only managed to get 1 attack round, and Okami haven't even done that yet here on their attacks. 4 straight for Wildcard, positioned so well to rip that momentum out of Okami's hands and put themselves onto not only match point, but championship point, 6 Masters point. Wildcard have never won the 6 Masters before. They have been the champions of the Oceanic Nationals under other names, for example, the 6 Oceanic Cup and the ANZ Invitational way back in 2017, but Wildcard have never won the 6 Masters. They want to assert themselves and say, look, no more speculation. We are the best team in Oceania. And this comeback is the perfect way to make that statement.
If the trend continues, this could be the round that Okami does win and at least secure overtime. It was the 5th attack that Wildcard won in their half, as Okami are desperately crawling, desperately reaching for something here. The attacks have been inspired with aggression, but they're just unable to convert. The denial from Wildcard has been phenomenal. Double denial in the last round with C4s. The smokes as well from Diesel, shutting down that push. Any aggression from Okami being contested. It's been a fantastic map so far as we edge closer and closer to its conclusion.
And that's why these attack rounds hinge, or this game rather, hinges on those attack rounds. For Okami, they're yet to find one. Wildcard are going to do the exact same thing the last time they defended Dining. Exact same operator lineup, exact same hold. Just 1 player roaming for the majority, or just 1 player roaming upstairs, I should say, and the majority roaming downstairs or on site. Now for Okami, they've changed things a little bit. They've brought the Dokkaebi on Joker, an operator that is usually a staple of their attacks here on Villa, but this is the first time we're seeing it in this series. How can Okami do to clear out this top floor pressure and start to take the fight to Wildcard? They need to step it up now. No second chances.
Jack Daddy gaining some intel on some of the utility that's been extended horizontally here by Okami, by Wildcard rather, as Pistol now will get to work from above. He uses 1 breaching charge. Could expose the angle to the Valkyrie on site. That's Pat on cams, but Pistol doesn't actually peek that angle. Pat still on cams would have been taken out. None the wiser. Either way, though, he gets away with his life, and the chance goes begging there for Okami as frags start to come out. It's a 4-on-4 with 1:20 left.
1:20 down, as you said, and finally that roamer taken out from Emo. But there was that refrag, Jack Daddy taken out with a C4. Now Mango's looking to rotate and prepare for this laundry push, but Wildcard have so many players positioned, ready to crossfire if that execute comes through, and it be styled down upstairs from another C4. Pat, you mentioned how he's been on those cameras for most of this round, and that's really helped out Wildcard to land these C4s. He's had such good information gathering. Now Jack's down. There's no way to spot those black eyes with the electronics detector, and it'll be so difficult for Okami to salvage this.
As the timer keeps ticking down. Wildcard find themselves in the advantageous position, having intel on the board, the HP advantage, as well as the positional advantage. Ethan now will slowly rotate back towards site as the timer continues to tick down. Or Ibisol could find a pick. He downs one. And there we go. Okami will explode. It's a 2-on-4. Diesel taken down as well. And Pat now needs to find 4 mangoes. He'll try and stick that defuse. Surely he won't let off. Oh no, the denial's there. 10 seconds left. Can they pick it up? They don't need to. Okami will find the pick and head themselves to match point.
That was unbelievable and stolen out from under Wildcard's nose after finding such a strong roam and putting Okami in a tough position. Out of nowhere, the attack sprung into action, found 3 kills in about the space of 10 seconds and started to get that plant down. I thought for a second maybe Pat could save the round in the 1 versus 4, but only to deny the diffuser plant. Now Okami, after losing 4 rounds in a row on their attack, have put themselves on match point. This is the 1 round that they needed to get themselves on match point. Now, if you can nail down another attack win here, back to back, this map is yours. If not, Wildcard will take us to overtime. This map has been neck and neck, but both teams have only managed to win 1 attack round so far. And that's why we're looking at Okami now saying, look, attack has been where teams have struggled on this map. You have to hold the ground here and take Wildcard's map pick to stay alive in the series.
It is critical for Okami to close it out here in this round. If we go to overtime, Wildcard will be starting on the defense. That is by far the advantageous position to be in if the trend continues from regulation. Now is the opportunity to close this out. Head it to Theme Park, where it will be Okami's map pick. Pressure well and truly on both teams at the moment. Wildcard don't want to let this one slip. They want to close out this map, win the series, and win 6 Masters 2020, be crowned the champions of Oceania. Okami really trying to keep their chances alive here.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
But with 1 attack 1 onto kitchen dining, Okami can't simply attack the same bomb site again. Wildcard will move over to stat trophy. Now we've seen them successfully defend this just the once. With a very strong vertical hold from downstairs, Okami decided to rush Astro and it didn't work out for them. They were caught in a crossfire and pinched out. Will Okami attempt once again to go for that sneaky rush? It doesn't seem like it. For the most part, they're ignoring Astro, and Wildcard have more positions to counter that push. Okami deciding to go for a map clear instead from the south side. Gio not sure where he wants to put his shield. Going to move it around to hold inside stat. Now Okami, let's look at their attacking side. 1 minute down, they've made good control. They've got to be careful of this vertical game though. Ethan downstairs does have a C4. And if Jack Daddy pushes into Tails just ahead of landing, he might be vulnerable to one from Ethan. We've seen that be so powerful in the past. Ethan also supported by Emo, so it may well be too late here for Okami to hunt these roamers.
Wildcard so proficient in their utility usage. C4s, definitely no exception. We've seen plant denials on multiple occasions executed with those C4s with great success. If Okami elects not to go below, that could pose issues later in the round. Jack Daddy has a drone prep. They know that one is in sheets potentially, and they might try and hunt him down. Some vertical could be used against him, as Ibisol will expend some utility in towards stat.
Oh no!
Timer though, there's only a minute to go, and that C4 from Ethan will be massive. That's Ibisol taken off the board with a minute to go.
Not only that, Okami have completely stalled out, trying to destroy the electric claw that's protecting the ex-Kairos off of the master walls. The electric claw is actually downstairs through the floor. And Okami have no idea. They droned it out. They couldn't see it. Now it looks like Wildcard are positioned so well to tie this up and take us all the way to overtime. Mangoes can't have an impact here from Master. And still vertical control from Wildcard.
If Joker pushes through that door, surely Ethan from below will end his life with the shotgun. He just needs to time the shot. 30 seconds left. Joker's going to push in. Where's the shot from Ethan? It lands, but it doesn't quite down that player. Joker still with a slither of HP. Needs to be very careful. Ethan repositions. Very awkward gunfight ensues, but Joker critically has been dropped on side. It's a 5-on-3. Jack Daddy tries to enter and find the refrag. They need to find these picks. That's a great pre-fire from Jack Daddy. It's a 3-on-3. How many more can he find? Q's going to attempt the plant. Wildcard at the man disadvantage, and Okami could close this one out, but Cutie, he falls off it. It's a 2-on-2. The timer ticking down. Emo Rin left in a 1-on-2, but the timer will deplete. Wildcard will take the round. We are heading to overtime.
The fact that Okami could take it that close was a huge surprise to me after not being able to breach the master wall thanks to the claw placed downstairs and protecting those walls through the floor. Meant that Okami really in positions that Wildcard were ready for, but despite that, they managed to just push on through these choke points and refrag it out onto site. In the final seconds of it, Okami had the numbers advantage, but for Wildcard to just deny that plan at the last second means that they take us all the way to overtime. And now we're looking at a possibility for Wildcard to once again put themselves on match point here. They are favored on the defense, going to Aviator. So far, they are undefeated on this bomb site today. And if we have a look at yesterday, they were also undefeated defending this bomb site. Okami have not beaten Wildcard attacking Aviator games at all today or yesterday. So this is a huge challenge for Okami to overcome. They've lost that match point opportunity that was given to them, and they need to steal it back here off Wildcard.
The odds are definitely stacked against the attack here. It appears as if Wildcard will set up in similar fashion. They have a shield at classical, likely to a lot of utility that needs to be expended. We did, on the first attack, see Okami clear them with ease, but the second was a different story. So often we have seen teams forced into this default plant behind the vault door. The likes of Diesel, if the smoke's able to deny that. Emerin has a C4, so does Ethan, and they have proved deadly so far. This is going to be an incredibly tough round for Okami.
That said, we've seen an adaptation from both teams. Okami are sticking that Docker beat. Maybe that was part of the ingredient to help them explode onto site last round, but for Wildcard, they're bringing the Maestro this time around instead of that Wamai. Now, you mentioned Okami struggled to destroy all the deployable shields that Wildcard brought to the table. Now, there's two sides to this. With the Maestro picked instead of the Wamai, you lose one deployable shield, right? You still got the two from Goyo and potentially one from Smoke, but you also lose that projectile denial. So it's more likely that Okami with the no Ash, actually, but they do have the Zephyr and the Sledge to destroy those shields. But also Wildcard have these Evil Eyes, and that'll not only help with the information gathering, but it's another piece of utility that Okami is going to have to expend explosives to destroy. And it looks like Okami is actually going to go for this vertical take. A smart move. Ethan was so impactful with his C4 through the floor to deny plant last round. And he'll have to hold his ground here.
Jack Daddy below as well, but I don't think he's aware of Ethan's position, likely not being droned out. Instead, he's going to rotate outside of Piano. Joker's there as well. Joker is holding the door in case there's someone below, but I think he's holding a passive angle. I'm not convinced that they know there's a player below, but that call will surely give the sound cue. Ethan's going to get aggressive, hit some shots, but it's not quite enough. Geo gets the first pick. Can Ethan follow that up onto a second? Not yet. He is on full HP. Joker about half. Critical gunfight downstairs here if Okami want to try and get that plant down without the risk of a C4 from below.
Now Jack Daddy's taken out. Numbers disadvantage here, but Okami have made good progress with lots of time left. Ippy Style getting aggressive here, but if he gets picked, that could be huge. Now Ethan finds Joker. It looks like this lead may well be well and truly slipping away for Okami. Wildcard could head on to their first match point of the series. Mango's trying to cross through. He gets taken down by Emo Rin and finished off. It's all on Cutie now in a 1 versus 5. Wildcard so close to match point, and they're not going to let Cutie get the opportunity. Wildcard are 1 round away from taking the championship.
It's not over yet, though. Okami will now be on the defense. They have an opportunity to even out the scoreline, but even then, when Wildcard transfers back to the defense, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to close this one out. The ball is well and truly in Wildcard's court. They are in the box seat to win this map. And as you mentioned, win Six Masters 2020. It's been an incredible season from them so far. If they convert this map, it's only a single loss for the entire regular season and finals. Okami need to step up big time.
It's been 13 maps since Wildcard last lost a map, and this is the hardest they've ever had to work for it. Here in the grand final on Wildcard's map pick, they got that auto win for map number 1 thanks to coming through the upper bracket. They beat Okami on their own map pick on Kafe. And here we are, Wildcard on the comeback from a 5-1 deficit. In the last 7 rounds, Okami has only won once. But they need to tie this up here or go all the way to round 15, ultimate overtime, because they can't take any second chances here. One more mistake in Wildcard, lock them out and become the champions.
Yeah, I got to see a vertical hold come out here from the defense. Okami bringing the castle to aid in that. It's time for some of these players to step up. Style been a little bit quiet. The rest of his team trying to find some energy for what could be their last round, but they don't want it to be. They want this to go to 15. It's been a hard-fought contest so far. Wildcard not going down without a fight, but now it's Okami's time to try and shine here. Such an incredibly difficult position to be here, and the pressure has never really been higher, has it, throughout this entire season for either of these teams.
And Okami need to back themselves for this defense. They've won it flawlessly so far. Won it twice when they were defending in the first half. One of those was actually a flawless defense. But Wildcard, they always brought Capital for the kitchen dining attacks, but since they didn't know where Okami would go first up, they've got the Ash instead, maybe a utility missing that they would otherwise like to bring. Some Ares Isle and the smokes to boot. Now, the pivotal thing here for Okami is this information gathering that Jack Daddy and Cutie to spot out players on the cameras. Cutie roaming upstairs. If he can find a pick here with Style to support, that may make a huge difference here. Cutie's going to back on out. Wildcard clearing from south. Trying to take this top floor control. Style flashed and he runs down. Managed to get away with his life, but that forfeits the top floor presence and Wildcard can move in and take it.
Half the round remaining here. As Wildcard will slowly progress towards site. All 10 members still in the server. Who's going to falter first? Who's going to give that first pick away? If it's Okami, it could well snowball into a loss, as Wildcard will now start to hit the floor. Pat, also finding intel below, will be able to clear that and help in the information gathering, but Cutie gets the first pick. That's critical. That's Emo Rin taken off the board. 55 seconds left.
And another C4, keen and ready. Misses though. Pat managed to dodge that one. Now we look at Ethan looking to be that pincer movement to flush in from another side while Diesel mounts his push from Laundry. Wildcard fighting from behind, numbers advantage. They have the momentum. They've won 6 out of the last 7 rounds. But Okami, they're undefeated on this bomb site. Joker taking the aggressive position. He's likely to take the fight here against Geo. 20 seconds left.
Joker must win this gunfight with the shotgun out. He does. It's now a 3-on-5 in favor of the defense. Ethan's going to get aggressive up the back stairs as Pat finds one. Surely they can't win this round, but Diesel gets in towards site.
No way.
What can he do with that? Pat finds one. He finds 2. It's a 2-on-2. Diesel attempting to plant. Ethan in position to cover as they try and retake the site. The bomb goes down. Diesel gets taken out immediately. And Dev, we will be going to the 15th and final round.
I can barely hold my breath right now, guys. I have no idea what it would be like to be in the comms for either of these teams. Okami looked like they were going to lose that round. They looked like that was the end of it for them. But once again, the defense prevails and Okami push us all the way to round number 15, and that does give the advantage over to Wildcard now. Aviator Games Room is locked. The only other bomb site that was won, the only bomb site that was won at all from Okami on their attack was Kitchen Dining, and that's exactly where Wildcard is going to take us. This is a huge gamble for Wildcard.
Wow. That is a massive pick by the defense. As you mentioned, it's the only site Okami actually managed to win in regulation on their attack. They might be licking their lips a little bit once they discover where that objective is. Give them some much needed confidence to convert this round. Okami, it's die. This round, they're out. Wildcard will be the victors. It all comes down to this.
It'll also come down to Jack Daddy with the IQ. With Pulse Band, an operator that has been so influential for Wildcards, particularly their defenses of this very bomb site, Dining Kitchen. Wildcard are leaning mostly on Pat here for the information gathering. No proximity alarms either on Emo Rin, instead opting for that bulletproof camera. So Pat, these Valkyrie cameras are going to be pivotal, and they enabled one, if not two C4s last rounds. Wildcard defending this successfully. And Okami going to be looking at Jack Dad to clear out that info gathering. Lots of utility, though, that Okami are going to have to deal with here. Particularly those Vulcan shields from Ethan, who's consistently... He's actually going to roam top south side. This is the way that Okami decided to push last round, and it indeed is how they're going to roam again. Joker's drone taken out early. Ethan getting so aggressive. Is he going to keep playing for this? Dancing with fire right now. He may lose this gunfight. C4 goes out. But it doesn't land. It gets shot out of the air. And he loses the gunfight. It'd be style here on match points. He gets lit so low, but he takes down that X Factor, that champion player for Wildcard.
That is an absolutely enormous pick for Okami. Ippy Styles arguably had one of his quietest maps of the entire season, but not after that pick. That's massive. Oh, that wide swing from Geo. If he had a pre-fire that, he probably would have netted the kill. Emo Rin alongside to assist. Pat actually rotating up as well. So again, we are going to see Wildcard adapt on the fly. That's some aggression at the top of red, but that gets shut down by Jack Dad. It's a 3-on-5, and we could well see Okami get only their second attack win here on Villa.
The logic bomb rings out, and Diesel just double-checking the bomb site. Bit starved for info here, it seems, as Wildcard. And I think that all the cams have been hacked for Okami. The Dokkaebi enabled those cams to get hacked, and now Wildcard have to get aggressive. Emo finds one. That's Jack Dad, the lit-up player from the earlier engagement. Emo finds another one, going huge. He has been keeping Wildcard alive this whole series. And now the numbers are even, 3 versus 3. But Ippy Style so low on HP. Mango's trying to get ready for this execute through Laundry. Lots of time left for Okami, but they can't let it slip now.
This round, this map, this tournament going down to the wire. Mangoes is in Laundry. He has the diffuser. He's flashing over the wall, trying to disrupt anyone holding that position. Diesel and Emo Rin both have an angle. Who's there to support Mangoes? That's the question. We see Geo above. He could find himself in an engagement. The ping going out on that attacker, though. It's a very uncomfortable position that Okami find themselves in as they try to convert this round. Mango's unaware that there are two players holding this position. Ippy Style so low on HP as he makes his way down red. Geo continues to roam above as Diesel finds another. It's Cutie and Mangoes. The weight of the championship on their shoulders. Mangoes progresses in towards B. Can Emo win this gunfight? He will. It's a 3-on-1. They came into this season to prove a point. They made roster changes. It didn't quite work out, but Wildcard are now your champions of Six Masters 2020, and they are the champions of Oceania without dropping a single map in the entire finals bracket. What a performance. Congratulations.
An insane season for Wildcard. Congratulations. Jack Daddy wishes his best to his opponents. Wildcard came in with so much uncertainty this season after their worst ever performance in the Pro League. They were made fun of at Invitationals and they came back, they made roster changes and they made it work. Only dropping one map through the entire tournament, going flawless through the finals. Okami made them work for it there on Villa, but Wildcard, a well-deserved championship. Another notch in their belt.
Oh, I am shaking. That was probably the most intense map I think I have ever casted in ANZ. That was nuts. Such a great performance by both teams. Okami, congratulations on taking it up to them on Villa. You were so beaten down from Kafe, but you came back, fought really, really, really hard. It came down to literally the final seconds of the 15th round. I need a breath after that, Dev. That was incredible.
Man, I mean, just the trek that these teams have made to finally finish the Six Masters run here for Wildcard. It has been a long and tumultuous process. We've talked about it, the worst season ever of Pro League. They went from the Kings to embarrassing themselves. Like, season 10 was so good. First time they ever qualified for a global event. Within one round of taking down Na'Vi, the eventual champions. Season 11, they got 4th in ANZ. The worst season they've ever had, and they come back, and it is confirmed. No one can hold a candle to Wildcard here in Oceania.
That's right. They are your champions of Oceania. What a fantastic performance. The entire season, near flawless. They dropped a single map to LFO on Clubhouse, which funnily enough for them was a map that we could have seen in this series. We saw them perform so well on it throughout the finals as well, but they didn't need it. They win the 2 maps, plus that map advantage gives them the 3-0 win, Dev. Dominant in the end.
Yeah, and I mean, you say 3-0. That first map was a map advantage, so really it was a 2-0 here, but I think we need to credit Okami to push them so hard, especially on Villa. After Okami failed to beat Wildcard on Villa just yesterday, they turn around and push them and come within a few kills of taking the map away from them. That is something worth commending.
Well, we do have centers from Okami on the line. Let's say g'day to the runners-up.
Hello there, guys. How are you doing?
I'm going well. Centers, how are you, man? Congratulations on 2nd place. Unfortunately, not quite having enough to take it over the line, but it was a good performance on Villa nonetheless.
Yeah, to be honest, we know how good Wildcard is. They're currently by far the best team in Oceania, and we're literally seconds away from winning against them. And we still have that those major spot playoffs in August. So I feel relatively confident that if we put a little more time, a little bit more effort in, that we can beat them.
Yeah, we definitely saw some good adaptations from you guys, some nice counterbands coming into it. Now, I'm interested in hearing your take on the operator ban phase with Nomad and Pulse gone. We saw a really defender-sided map, which is not necessarily common at all for Villa. So I'm interested in hearing your take. How did the bans actually affect the game, and what made you guys so confident on your defenses and struggle so much on your attacks?
I mean, the Nomad made the attacks a lot harder, especially leaving the flanks open, then having to commit at least 1, maybe 2 people on Villa, more or less 2 people for the flank watch to not get taken out from behind. We saw Jaden go for those flanks. He got them off, and as well as the guys from Wildcard did as well. It's just the thing that happened on both sides, and we both teams really weren't ready for the flanks, I guess. But yeah, the Pulse ban is just one of the main operators that is used commonly by Wildcard, and we just wanted to take that out, take out that C4 as well, and that information they had on it. And yeah, I mean, I think the bans were all right. As I said, in the end, it just came down to seconds, and it's something we're going to work on.
So I want to know, Sentis, you guys had your next map pick. It was Theme Park. If you guys had won Villa, which you were so close to, we would have had to Theme Park, where you guys already 7-1 Knights today. If we'd gone to Theme Park, do you reckon you guys would have taken the series?
I think if we would have won this map, this could have been a potential reverse sweep. But it didn't come to that. It didn't happen. So obviously it's just could have been, would have been, whatever. In the end, we still have the major playoffs in August. That's where we will take it, and that's where we'll finally be able to beat them and not lose 2-0.
Well, there you go. As you mentioned, you do have the Oceania mini major coming up. What are the next sort of few weeks looking for you guys? Are you going to be taking a break? Are you going to be working hard? Maybe outline to us what you and the team are going to be working on over that duration.
Communications are still a huge issue, especially in that last round. It just came down to people talking too much or giving either too much unnecessary information or talking over each other. That is still a point that we have to get done, especially when it gets more heated, it gets more cluttered, and that's one of the points we've been working on, and we've gotten way better, but we still have to work on that a little bit. And then just our counter analysis and counter strats, getting those done a little better and putting even more time into that than we did right now, so that our players can go even more confident into those rounds and potentially even take the rounds that we didn't win.
Awesome. Well, Sentis, again, congratulations on finishing second. We always appreciate your insight. Hopefully we get to talk soon. See you, mate.
See you, mate. Bye.
Look, not too upset with the result. Of course, it's going to hurt deep down, but I think looking ahead, there's definitely potential for Okami to try and take that next step and knock Wildcard off that top spot on the podium.
Yes, but it's so tough. And look, they've demonstrated they've got the stones to give them a fight. We don't know about really being a serious challenge because Okami didn't manage to get a map there. But it sounds like Sentis, he's the manager / coach. Like he maybe wouldn't be feeling as much emotion as the players who were in the server just then. But I think that gives him a bit of perspective as well. And he's saying, look, we already know some of the things that were going wrong. We know what we got to do to fix them. And that's their focus now, heading into the mini major to hopefully take that first spot. But for Wildcard here, this is I think finally a opportunity for them to just be really, really happy with themselves, because it's been such a struggle. And they seem to have finally broken that curse.
Well, they managed to end the fairy tale run with a 3-0 victory. Wildcard are victorious. We have Silex, their coach, on the line. Congratulations on a fantastic season, a fantastic finals bracket as well. Give us your first initial thoughts.
Oh man, it's been an unbelievable season. Oh, sorry. Hi guys.
Hi.
Unbelievable season, dropping one map only. Couldn't be more proud of the boys. It's been a good run.
So, Silex, I know it's been a tough slog over the last, about a year, really. You guys went into Season 10. It was a pretty good season. Then you came out with APAC Finals, did really well there. And then you went to the Global Pro League Finals in Tokoname. You guys almost beat RV. And I know from speaking to you and the boys in the past, there's been maybe a bit of... I don't know, did we really do as well as we thought we did in Tokonami? Because then you guys struggled in Season 11, you guys struggled at 6 Invitational, and a lot of people in the global stage didn't think much of Wildcard. But now that you've dominated ANZ, do you guys think that you've got what it takes to bring it to the top dogs in APAC and in the world, and once again become a global team?
So Season 10 was fantastic for us. As you said, we did slip in Season 11. But now, with our new roster, I think we can go pretty far in APAC. Would be nice to test ourselves against the global stage, but current climate, it's a bit difficult. But yeah, really confident that we could do well globally still, despite past performances. But yeah, I've got full confidence in the boys.
I was also just wondering, what is it with the team dynamic here? Because you guys bring on Gio and Pat, who I think have had a phenomenal season both. Gio got an ace in one of the first rounds you guys played. And then you come in, Ethan's been the season MVP for obvious reasons. But today, when it mattered, Imorin stood up, and he's been a player with you on the team for season after season. What's the team dynamic? You're not just looking for one player to step up. Sometimes you'll wake up on game day and one of your players will really, really step it up. So what is it like in the team? Is it about chemistry? Is it about different people having different good days? Or what is it that makes your team so good?
Well, chemistry is by far the biggest factor when it comes to team dynamics. People need to get along. People need to work well together. Communications need to be on point. Today, Emo went off. He had been going under a bit of a slump lately, but it's really nice to see him really pop off today, especially on Kafe. I think he dropped 16 or something. Props to him, and he got quite a few on Villa as well. Ethan, he's a massive star. Like, yeah, he's just gonna pop off like every single match, really. Introducing Pat and Gio into the mix, they provided some well-needed balance to the whole dynamic of the team, I think. Previously, there was a lot of emphasis on Ethan and Diesel providing calls and coordinating attacks and everything. And now there's just a little less pressure on them, and we can share the load a bit more.
Awesome. Well, it was pretty clear throughout the entire season in the polls that you and the boys had incredible support, not only within ANZ, but internationally as well. What would you like to say to all the Wildcard fans cheering at the moment?
Of course, thank you for all the Wildcard fans out there supporting us all the way through thick and thin from the very start, whether you're new or whatever. Massive props to you guys, so thank you.
Awesome, Silex. Again, massive props on an incredible season. Congratulations and all the best in the future.
Thanks, boys. See ya.
Yeah.
I guess
Feels-
now
feels good.
Silex can. Yeah, it does feel good. I guess now Silex can start, practicing that guitar that was in the background. 6 Masters tick. Go and practice some guitar and chill out. Have a bit of a relaxing, I guess, next week or so.
Maybe we'll be able to play some more ranked with him, who knows. But let's have a look at the bracket and see how the last 3 days all panned out. Day number 1, we saw an incredible series between Okami and Sinister. Unfortunately, Sinister dropping down to that lower bracket. We also saw Wildcard take on Pittsburgh, and I mean, look at the run. Wildcard just continued that form throughout.
I think a lot of people were expecting to see Wildcard come out on top in this season, and look, they really didn't slow down, not for 1 second. Okami, though, had a huge performance. The only maps they've dropped here in the playoff bracket were to Wildcard. I mean, overall, I'm impressed by Pittsburgh Knights as well. They did fall 0-2 to Wildcard, but came back and earned that 3rd place over Sinister. Perhaps Sinister is the team we're looking at, thinking maybe they could have done better here, but there is still opportunities in the future with the Oceanic Nationals, and of course for these top 3 teams, Wildcard, Okami, and Knights, heading into that mini major. So overall, a fantastic season, culminating in a fantastic finals bracket.
It really was one of, if not the most competitive seasons we have seen in 6 Masters. Throughout the season, we saw teams trading each other's map picks. We saw unexpected results in the finals bracket, and it really culminated into an incredible, fun series to watch. Wildcard, though, head and shoulders above the rest, really, and that dominance. It's going to be intriguing to see if that continues heading into that mini major.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Wildcard definitely going to be the favorites going into that, but the gauntlet is there, and there is an opportunity for these other teams to get in on it as well. Wildcard made it to 6 Invitational 2020. They've got their eyes set on getting some points for 6 Invitational 2021, but that's the next step for now. They'll relish in their 6 Masters 2020 championship.
Well, that's it for us here in 6 Masters 2020. On behalf of myself and Dev, the entire talent team, and the team back at ESL in Sydney, we'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, stay safe and good night.
From the dust, oh, here we go,
Attackers bombed the diffuser.
You won't be alone, we're unstoppable. Don't be afraid to show what we're going for. This is what we know. Here we come back to life, we're still breathing. Standing up, everybody's gonna see it. Oh, all you need to know is that we're holding on. Even if we fall, we will rise up.